Many millions of years ago, a race of hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings got so fed up with the constant bickering about the meaning of life that they commissioned 2 of their brightest and best to design and build a stupendous supercomputer to calculate the answer.
The answer to the ultimate question.
1350.
Supercomputer.
He did this because he's terrified of me. But if free speech for me, but not for thee, is the official bullshit opinion of centrist liberalism, perhaps it doesn't deserve defending. This is what getting blown out looks like in a debate.
That is a textbook straw man, and attacking it will not advance the credibility of your argument. If you can substantiate that in any way, I'm willing to listen, but until then, there is nothing to debate.
And here's the thing, his whole chat right now is PPP1, so PPP1 look, we have 1,400 live viewers. That's more than on the kill stream in fucking 2 weeks.
It's coming. You can feel it in the air. It's palpable. The Kino and Nectar is in the air.
Some people deem it strange to date an 18-year-old. Probably. I don't find it strange. She tells me she's 18 on air, and I'm just like, oh. I guess I'm like, oh, that's not gonna work. Like, what the fuck? You know, we got married, but. Do some people deem it strange to date an 18-year-old? Probably.
Oh, baby! Memphis 10!
Do you know, for months, nearly years at this point, there was fuck all going on. The well of nectar was dry, and the people were thirsty, and they cried out, PPP, give us nectar, give us sustenance, and yea, I freely give of myself upon the cross of Lol Cowdom to bring you such Kino and nectar as you've not seen before. The glory and the triumph and the winning of this time period shall never be seen again. Or shall it be a new age? A new age of glory, of untold Kino and nectar upon the Kinodrome's bloody halls each week. That's my vision, a new era. Be prepared for the new era. Be prepared to be kings. Be prepared to be queens there. Be prepared for a new era of glory and righteousness above which you have never seen. And we will enter into the gates of the Kinodrome, and there will be nectar and there will be Kino. By God, there will be glory beyond our wildest dreams. Riches eternal and gold-paved streets. Gates of pearl, diamond encrusted, and rubies in the street. Can you imagine it? I can, because I have a dream. I have a dream of an internet without grifting. Let me tell you, I have a dream today. I have a dream of niche content creators catering to small audiences, not caring whether they get paid or not, but being creatively inspired and excited as a hobby to entertain people out there who are autistic. I have a dream, today. And I may not get there with you. I might not get to the mountaintop with you. But I have seen the glory of the Lord. I have seen its richness. I have seen its glory. A vision came to me last night, and it inspires me on. It inspires me on, and it should inspire every one of you that I have seen the mountaintop. And you will enter that kingdom of Kino and nectar. You will enter the halls of the Kinodrome. It's coming. It's fucking coming.
Oh my God, they're all Spurs, but who's the biggest Spur? He's a Spur, and there is a Spur, but who's the biggest Spur? Oh my God, they're all Spurring, who's the biggest Spur? He's a Spur, and he's a Spur, but who's the biggest Spur?
Europeans on after you guys, but the Europeans they bailed. So.
All right. Welcome, Spuds and Spuds, to the Kinodrome, the halls of nectar and glory abound. Today in the Kinodrome, we have an artistic matchup in the political sphere. Today we have a liberal spaceman and a conservative, the prosecutor, and they are going to determine for us whether there is systematic racism in the United States of America. It will truly be an artistic splendor to behold. So, I'm going to toss it up to Spaceman, but before I do, I just want to go over the rules. Gentlemen, there are no fucking rules in the Kinodrome. It's winner take all for blood and glory. Now, Spaceman, take it away.
All right, well, I'm going to start here because we had a brief discussion of burden of proof prior to the debate. So I'm going to read out the definition of burden of proof in argument. That is the obligation on a party in a dispute to prove sufficient warrant for their position. So in this particular debate, I'm trying to prove a positive position, whereas the prosecutor is trying to prove a negative claim. So he's actually in a bit of a bad position here. He has to disprove everything I say, while I only have to prove one instance of systemic racism. So I want to change the tables a little bit. The prosecutor has put forth more of a legal definition of burden of proof. And that's kind of what I want to hold us to. I think it's not sufficient for me to just prove one instance of systemic racism and swish my cape and run away from the debate. So as long as that's cool with you, the prosecutor, that's kind of where I want to start from. And I will throw out my proof here. So I have 18 pages of testimonies, reports, studies, and statements from senators, the FBI director, the National Institute of Justice, various police chiefs, the Ethical Police Society, various senatorial hearings, senatorial testimony by judges, the president of the WHIEEA, the NCJRS, the DOJ, several governors, and one general. And they are all in agreement about one thing, and that's that systemic racism does exist, and moreover, we need to do something about it. And many of these hearings are actually about policy implementation. So the federal government on many different levels does identify this as a real thing. That said, the prosecutor, I would ask how you would refute that information when it is backed up by a massive culmination of studies. I couldn't even list the enormous amount of studies that confirm this. But given that it is straight from the horse's mouth, what refutation would you give?
Before you answer that, I just want to point out that Spaceman is on the verge of being disqualified for blatant homosexuality and boredom by bringing up 18 fucking pages. So I just want to point that out. Now, prosecutor, you can refute what he said or say whatever you like, but I just want to point that out.
All right, man. Well, you're the one who's saying that there's the criminal justice system in the United States is systemically racist. So that's a claim that you're making. So yes, the burden of proof needs to be on you. You need to prove that that's the case, because what you're alleging is a racist conspiracy, basically. As far as your 18 pages of sources, I mean, we can go through them if you want. But I do have plenty of. What's up, PPP?
I'm just saying, don't go through 18 whole fucking pages.
Okay.
If I may interject really quick.
Well, hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying. I've got plenty of my own sources that I could cite to. I mean, Harvard University, you think that's a pretty good university?
I would agree that Harvard University has done decent studies. However, I have a Harvard University and National Institute of Justice study here, so I don't want to say that one study trumps the other. However, I did want to object to your statement that the argument behind systemic racism is a conspiracy theory. I've heard you put forth in your channel that you think that people who say systemic racism exists thinks that all the cops are evil and they're working together to fuck us. And it's actually the opposite. All of the information I'm putting forward is very generous to the police. And it says the police and the judges are not the ones that should be held responsible here, but in fact, it is a disparity in the system. It is a systemic problem that is causing these issues.
Okay, well, again, Harvard study from 2017, Dr. Roland Fryer. This is what the study found. In an encounter with police are 27.4% less likely to shoot a black suspect.
Seems you've cut out!
Oh, sorry about that. Results of the Harvard study. Can you guys still hear me? Anyways. Okay. So, according to this Harvard study from 2017, in any given encounter with police, where the suspect is armed with a weapon, police are 27.4% less likely to shoot a black suspect. That comes from New York Police Department data, federal police surveys, as well as records from Houston, Texas. It's based on 5 million police encounters. Now, in addition to that, the same study found that blacks were 323% more likely to be stopped by police. However, when it's controlled for whether or not they were actually involved in criminal activity, blacks were 45.4% less likely to be stopped than non-blacks. So to the extent that you argue that there's this just organized group of academic studies that all agree that the criminal justice system in the United States is racist, that's not true. There's actually a lot of studies that suggest the opposite.
So I would argue that your study doesn't suggest the opposite. Just because that study does indicate that's true doesn't debunk the idea that the system contains racism. And let me pull up on my side a Harvard and National Institute of Justice study, where their first point they bring up is to recognize that race endures as an issue in America, not because people are prejudiced, but because they fail to support structural changes that would equalize opportunity. So I think that's the real argument around systemic racism. I'm not saying the cops individually are all out there being pieces of shit. So if you can provide some instance in which the cops are being good guys, that's fine. That does nothing to refute the overall assessment of the system.
So then you agree then that the institutions of the criminal justice system would therefore not be systemically racist. It's just that you're saying that because the United States doesn't make economic reforms that pulls black people onto an equal level of whites, that's the real racism in the system. But that's not usually what people talk about.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, and this is once again what the study is saying, that lack of reform in the system is why these issues continue. It's not about economics. It's about the justice system. Now, you can make the argument that racial disparity exists across all systems and that all systems are intertwined, but I don't think we need to argue the history of Black America or anything like that. I think we can look at the evidence in front of us and we can look at all of the members of the government who are literally saying there's systemic problems, even the ones who are totally not blaming the police. The statement from the FBI director says that cops are out there being good guys. They're doing good things. The problem is with training. And he goes on to list a couple other things too. I don't want to bring it up and ramble, but training was one of his big ones. That's a systemic issue. If the training is resulting in a bias, that's systemic injustice, and it's racial.
Well, how is police training resulting in a racial bias? Explain this to me, because I haven't ever heard anyone make that argument.
Okay, well, so this is going to be very similar to the economics argument. So historically, and I don't think we need to debate this, there has been some very serious racial injustices in America. So the justice system, being an ever building and growing process, is having to shed these things. So the reason why many of these committees, these Senate hearings, the reason why the governors have established commissions to get rid of systemic racism is because we are, in fact, progressing away from it. But that doesn't mean it's not an issue. It's still an issue because the systems in place have holdover. So I'm not saying anything about cops being shit. You don't have to call cops shit to say there's problems with the system. And those problems have been declining, yes, but they're rooted very deeply. And so to make an economics example, on the whole, Black people are getting more wealthy as America grows. However, they started from a very disparate position. So their gains over time have been insignificant compared to the gains of the average white person. That doesn't mean they're not progressing, but it means that within the system, there's a disadvantage to them. And that disadvantage came about because of old systems that evolved into our new systems.
Look, I don't have a time machine. I can't go back in time and change the history of this country. What the purpose of this debate is whether the criminal justice system as it exists today is systemically racist or not. I asked you what it is about police training that leads to racist outcomes, and you weren't able to articulate that. Instead, you gave me a history lesson, which everyone already knows about slavery and things like that. So my question again to you is, how is police training resulting in disparate outcomes?
Because the training is biased. And that's what I'm saying. Systemic racism doesn't imply that everybody is a racist, like they sit there and think, oh, Black people are bad. It implies that there is latent bias in the system. That's what I'm saying. The whole point of the sociological deconstruction of this argument is that latent bias exists, not explicit bias. And once again, many of the judges who are involved in these reviews, and I could read you the huge list, they don't blame the cops. They blame the system.
Okay, well, are you familiar with the court case of Floyd versus the city of New York?
No, I'm not familiar with it. Is this George Floyd, or is this a different Floyd?
It has nothing to do with George Floyd.
Okay. Well, so what is the case?
So Floyd versus the City of New York was a lawsuit that was filed against the City of New York over its stop and frisk policies. It was a class action lawsuit with several different plaintiffs. The lawsuit made two separate claims. One of the claims was that the training that NYPD was giving on when officers can do a stop and frisk pursuant to Terry v. Ohio was inadequate. And it was inadequate to the point where it violated the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. The second claim that was brought up in this lawsuit was that the stop and frisk program and the way policing was conducted in New York City was systemically racist. This was a lawsuit that was filed in the Southern District of New York. As far as district courts, you can't really get more prestigious and more high profile than that district court. So after the suit was filed, the City of New York filed a motion for summary judgment, arguing that the case should be dismissed as to both counts. Now, for some of the plaintiffs, the Southern District of New York district court judge allowed the first Fourth Amendment claim to continue. However, it did not let the systemic racism claim continue. The district court judge found that there was so little evidence that the NYPD stop and frisk program was systemically racist that it didn't even warrant the case moving forward to a trial. So when you act like there's a consensus amongst judges and legal professionals that the police are systemically racist or that the criminal justice system is systemically racist, that simply is not true.
Well, I'm not contending there is a consensus among judges. Obviously, it'd be very hard to find a consensus among anybody in America, 100%. I'm saying that there is a very large body of justices and members of the Department of Justice, the FBI, the Senate, who agree with the sociological findings. And I'll counter your case there with, on April 17th, the City of Baltimore Department of Justice entered into a consent decree. And this was about violations of the Fourth Amendment and the 14th Amendment and bias policing. And the findings were that they were being biased and that race was an element of that. And so they were brought into the consent decree. I'm not saying race is the only element. Race is not the only systemic problem, but it was an issue in that particular instance. So another one is in Chicago. Very similar thing happened. The Deputy Attorney General says that problems in the Chicago police, and this is referring to racial bias issues, stem in part from a lack of training and effective oversight. And it is no good to hold the police accountable. So once again, they're not attacking the police, and these are widespread instances of this. It is an argument about whether or not the justice system has these flaws. And once again, from the burden of proof in an argument, you need to disprove every single one of the things I'm saying in order to claim that nothing exists. I am putting forth decent evidence here that these things do exist.
Well, as to the burden of proof, I think it's up to the audience to decide whether they think what sort of burden of proof that they want to apply to this debate. So I'll just defer on burden of proof to the audience.
People would like to interrupt here. This debate is not decided by burden of evidence. This debate is decided by entertainment. And the keynote keeper is not that entertained. I would like to ask you, gentlemen, one simple question. Is it true that blacks have a lower IQ than whites? And is that why they commit more crime? Or is that simply a lie by racists?
Well, I'll address that really quick. Controlling for environment, there has never been any substantive evidence that has proved this. And actually, one of the most famous studies surrounding intelligence, the bell curve, was shot down brutally by the scientific community and by Sean Skull on YouTube if you want to watch it. But yeah, there's no body of evidence to prove that controlling for environmental factors, there's differences in intelligence. Prosecutor, do you have anything to say about that? Some kind of study?
I do have a study that I want to bring up related to that. I would agree with Spaceman that I don't think that there's been a rigorous academic study that has conclusively proven racial differences in IQ. I don't believe that means that there aren't racial differences. I think if one study could be constructed, I think it might find racial differences, but there's just not enough evidence for me to speculate exactly what those would be. However, the study that I would like to bring up is based off of research that was taken from the National Longitudinal Study of Adolescent Youth. And it basically looked at crime rates by race, and it controlled for both IQ and whether the person had a lifetime exposure to violence. And when both of those things were controlled for, it found that there was no racial difference in the rate of crime rates that were committed. So at least from that one study, there does seem to be some correlation between intelligence and crime rate, but only, again, when the person's had an exposure to violence.
Yeah, that's a purely environmental
We're in
thing.
agreement that it's not because of IQ, and I'm glad that Sean the Skull proved it to us with his incredible videos. Go ahead, gentlemen. I was hoping to get a little bit of excitement and passion out of you, gentlemen, but you're so civil, for fuck's sake. Go ahead.
If I may ask the prosecutor a question. I have a brief question about your assessment of data. So in one of your videos, you bring up, and sorry, I gotta grab it here, the BSJ government reporting on number of people incarcerated. And you use table 12 to argue that, I think it's table 12, yeah. You use table 12 to argue that whites are incarcerated more than blacks for drug crime. Is that true?
Is it true that I made that argument in some video I've done? I've done 4 or 5 reviews of systemic racism debates. It's possible I said something like that. I do use Bureau of Justice statistics sometimes to respond to arguments.
Okay, well, so because you did use this table, and then I noticed that if you read the table, it says sentenced prisoners under the jurisdiction of state correctional authorities. And so I am asking this in a serious question, not trying to do a gotcha. When you scroll down to table 14, it lists all of the prisoners held in federal custody and federal corrections facilities. And if we look at that, we notice that blacks are considerably more likely to end up in federal prison for drug crimes. And you mentioned property crimes. Blacks do tend to come out on top of the property crimes, except in fraud. And white people are incredibly represented in the industries of accounting, which is where most of the fraud charges in our justice system come from. So I just wanted to know, do you have an explanation for why you didn't use the second table?
If to the extent that I used a state prison population instead of the federal, it's probably due to the fact that the federal criminal justice system is so small compared to the state system that it's almost insignificant. That even if all of the federal prisons were emptied, even if all of the federal prisoners were released, it wouldn't make a meaningful difference in the disparity between blacks and whites serving prison terms.
Well, I have a question. I have a question for you, gentlemen, from the chat. Did both of you grow up in areas that were predominantly white, or did either of you grow up in a neighborhood that was multicultural or multiracial?
I grew up in the Marianas Islands briefly, and I lived with a Filipino woman who was my other mom. And then when I was a kid living back in California, my grandmother would let illegal Mexicans stay at her house so they could do work there, like in Orange County. So yeah, I actually grew up around quite a lot of ethnically diverse people, and so that's yeah. In that, but now, I mean, as an adult, now I live in fucking White City, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead, prosecutor.
Oh, I was just going to add that I grew up in a place that was pretty much like half Hispanic, half white. The place I live now, though, is pretty diverse. I would say that about a third of the people who live in my neighborhood are black.
About a third. Have you encountered any issues where they're not quite the same as the others in the neighborhood?
No, I live in a pretty nice neighborhood, so I haven't had any issues.
Yeah, in my experience, people are people pretty much no matter where you go. Obviously, like living in a largely white area most of my life, I've found that white people are just fucking atrocious when it comes to most all things. But I imagine if you lived in a community of purely Mexican people, you'd find plenty of atrocious people too, because human nature and behavior is subject to environment.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, get back to what you were discussing. We'll see if I might interject with a few questions from the chat. But I think you satisfactorily answered your backgrounds on this question.
So
All right, let me go. Earlier, Spaceman brought up that as evidence that the city of Baltimore in 2017 entered a consent decree with the with the Justice Department. I don't believe that cities with left-wing leadership, which I mean Baltimore would certainly fit that definition. Just because the officials that run these cities, like the Minneapolis City Council or like the socialist Seattle Town Council, just because those people believe that the police are racist or the criminal justice system is racist, does not prove that systemic racism exists in these institutions. I mean, I understand like it's a left-wing, right-wing political debate. And just simply the fact that a lot of people on the left believe this is the case is not evidence that proves it.
So I would ask a first question. That's an argumental fallacy. Number one, how do you know that those individuals are biased, given that you don't know who they are and that you weren't there at the hearings? And then I would counter what you said about this being a leftist thing with, in 2016, Senator Tim Scott, Republican of South Carolina, a black man, gave a speech on the Senate floor about his experiences with institutional racism. Testimony from the Honorable Robert C. Bobby Scott, representative in Congress, Republican from the state of Virginia, chairman of the Subcommittee of Crime and Terrorism and Homeland Security, gave a very long, extensive testimony and speech about systemic racism in America. Once again, not blaming the police, not in any way insinuating a conspiracy theory was occurring, but insinuating that within the systems, there was negative holdover that affected Black people and racial minorities, which makes it a racial disparity, a racial injustice in the criminal justice system.
Now, before the prosecutor answers, I just want to point out that within the Kinodrome, logical fallacies are not only allowed, they're actually encouraged within the Kinodrome. So I just want to point that out, that logical fallacies are not only allowed, they are encouraged. Go ahead, prosecutor, you might answer.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep citing two examples of people who work in the government that believe that this is the case. But again, I don't find that to be persuasive at all. I mean, if you look at, for example, are you familiar with the study that looked at potential racial disparities in the state of Florida?
No, you can go ahead and tell me.
All right, so that was an academic study where they broke down with a huge set of data, all of the people sentenced to the Department of Corrections in Florida. And they controlled for the race of the person and certain aggravating factors that might be present for the crime. Well, the conclusion of this Florida study was that when they controlled for what crimes people were being sentenced for and what aggravating factors existed, that there was no disparity in sentencing. So that's an actual academic study. I'm not just pointing to someone saying, well, this prominent person in the government said this is the case. I'm providing you actual evidence showing that the justice system is not systemically racist.
Well, I can provide you just as many studies. For example, another Harvard study right here, study finds evidence of systemic racism and discrimination across multiple domains in the United States. And they make the case that this extends well outside of law enforcement to employment, healthcare, many other things. So I don't know that refuting studies with studies is really the best here. I ultimately think I could pull up a lot more studies than you. This is generally accepted to be the sociological consensus. And you do address this in one of your videos. You claim that sociologists are all leftists, and that's why they think this. But I don't think that's verifiable or easy to prove in any way. And you certainly couldn't prove that leftists become sociologists any more than you could prove that sociology makes you a leftist. So I think
prosecutor, he has studies from Harvard, for fuck's sake. There's nothing you can do. He has studies from fucking Harvard. How do you feel?
So interestingly enough, I do want to cite a few more. Since you say my examples are not good, because I'm citing a few, there is a very large list of judges here that I can send to you if you like, and their statements on systemic injustice. But let me scroll down to one here. There was a particularly good statement from the judge in Illinois. Racism exists, whether it can be actualized as individual racism, institutional racism, or structural racism, and it undermines our democracy. I mean, this is not something that people are just saying out of fucking nowhere. Once again, there's testimony here from police chiefs that believe in systemic racism. Many of these people are not aligned with the Democratic Party or the left. They're just listening to their own experiences, looking at the justice system, and examining the evidence. And I don't know why you would cite the court of the United States of America as valid in proving any number of things, but then shoot down justices who sit on the court. That to me doesn't make any sense. You're with one hand, you're waving away evidence, and with the other hand, you're trying to say that it justifies things.
Okay, Spaceman, before prosecutor answers, two things. First of all, there is a poll on Twitter now at Power of the Truth. You can vote for who is winning or who has won. We will announce the results at the end of the debate. Second point, actually, you go ahead, prosecutor. You refute his claim, and I will ask a question after.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with every argument that you keep making is you keep appealing to authority. You say, look at this judge who's on the Supreme Court, or look at what this senator said. Shouldn't we listen to this person who's in a position of authority? But that's a fallacy. You're not proving that the system is systemically racism. You're also strawmanning my argument. You're saying that you're acting like I have to prove that there's no racism at all in our entire society in order to satisfy you. But that's not the argument I'm making. I'm just indicating that I don't believe the institutions of the criminal justice system are systemically racist. I'm not saying that there isn't a single police officer you could find somewhere who has some beliefs that might be considered racist. What I'm saying is the effects of the system, you are not able to prove that the system is racist, and that's what causes these racial disparities.
So wait, I'm confused here because you're saying that my appealing to studies and my appealing to members of the judicial system and my appealing to the head of the FBI and the National Institute of Justice and the DOJ are all illegitimate appeals to authority, but your appeals to court testimonies and court cases are valid? That is some bunk shit, man.
Well, gentlemen, I think that we're both kind of appealing to authorities and crying about logical fallacies a little too fucking much. I'm going to ask you, gentlemen, a question that's come in from the chat. Are you both white, or are either of you at a different persuasion of race?
To the ultimate irony, I assume we're both white men debating systemic racism.
That would be accurate. I am white.
Neither of you are Jew by chance.
Sorry, say
again? Neither of you are Jewish?
No, not Jewish. Italian and English.
You're European whites. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. Right. Continue, gentlemen. On the reset there, can we try and not appeal to fucking authorities or cry about logical fallacies? Try and, do something a bit different here, for fuck's sake.
Well, I don't know exactly what to appeal to if we're not appealing to some kind of study or something. But once again, prosecutor, I would argue that by the established rules of argument that we use in Western society, you are making a claim that something is not there. And so what you need to do to make that claim is you have to prove that there is no instance of systemic racism at all. And it sounded a minute ago like you were saying that it's difficult for you to prove that. So I'm not trying to straw man your argument in any way. I don't believe that you're saying that all cops are racists. I don't believe that. I'm not saying that. You're saying that systemic racism is totally non-existent. And I have offered you a fair amount of evidence that it is there. You can refute to what level it's there. You could come back and argue, well, it's only 10%. But you've already conceded the debate at that point.
Well, I disagree that it's my obligation to disprove that systemic racism exists in the criminal justice system. The burden of proof should be on you because you're the one who's making that claim. You're the one who's saying that this system that we have, which purports to be race neutral, obviously you would agree that our criminal laws, like, they don't separate people based off race. Our criminal procedures don't separate people based off race. Our laws don't carry separate sentences that people get based on race. So for you saying that there's disparities and that they're being caused by racism, that's a claim that you're making. And if you shift the burden of proof onto me to disprove your conspiracy theories, that just doesn't make any sense. But again, there are no rules in the Kinodrome, so let's stop talking about burden of proof. I mean, you cited a few studies, but your Harvard study, I cited my own Harvard study. And you didn't have a response to it other than just saying, oh, well, I don't care about that study because I have my own study.
I didn't say I don't care about that study. I said that your single study doesn't outweigh my numerous studies. And my numerous studies are backed up by people within the justice system making the same claim. Like, you're arguing up a hill here. And moreover, you're arguing against a large body of the system you're trying to argue is not racist in any way.
Well, it's not
here's
just
one
one
question from the chat for you guys. Is affirmative action a racist policy or an example of systematic racism?
I would say that it's clearly an example of a racist policy. It's clearly an example of systemic racism that exists in our economic system and exists in the education system.
So I would come at this twofold. Affirmative action is an attempt to right the wrongs of systemic racism of the past. However, do I think it's a good solution? No, not really. We should be allowing anybody who wants to go to school into school and making sure they get some fast tracking. There should be some better ways of getting people into college. And I don't want to go into the debate of socializing college or any bullshit like that. But I don't think affirmative action is a complete step to righting those social injustices, even if they're attempting to right a social injustice.
I would go even further and say that affirmative action actively hurts Black people. It maintains a Black underclass because it accepts Black people into positions of employment or in academic programs that they're not qualified for. This basically ensures that at every college, at every employer, the worst performing people are always Black people.
Okay, hold on 1 second, Spaceman. I just wanted to get a straight yes or no answer. Is affirmative action racist against whites, yes or no?
I would say no.
No. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Okay. Prosecutor, so back to your statistical study from before, the one you cite in your videos, just really quick. You say that there's not enough Black people or people in general in the federal prison system for it to really matter. And interestingly enough, there is 61,800 Black people, according to the 2017 statistics, in the federal prison system, weighed against 419,000 Black people in the state correctional system. So it's nearly a quarter. That's a huge chunk of people. By comparison, that's almost a quarter of as many people are as in the state correctional system. You're talking about tens of thousands of people. And interestingly enough, you left out this table, which actually proves an argument about systemic racism. It is a known statistical fact that Black men are less likely to be are more likely to be charged harshly. And that would account for the huge increase of Black men in federal institutions that is shown by these charts. So once again, I take issue with the way you present arguments and evidence, because the way you've presented them in the past doesn't seem to include the full studies and the full statistic. And when you make an assessment about it, you leave out tens of thousands of people.
So you said it was about 16,000 Black people locked up in federal prisons.
No. 60,000, according to the 2017.
So that's not close to a quarter. That's not close to a quarter of 500,000 Black people locked up in state prison.
400,000.
And you know what? I don't really appreciate like you trying to ambush me off something I said in a video like that. If you wanted to do that, you should have brought it to my attention beforehand, because I didn't go and rewatch all videos I've ever done before doing this debate. You're not a political YouTuber, so I wasn't afforded the opportunity to go through a bunch of videos that you composed and then criticize you for something that you're not even familiar with right offhand.
Well, you used it in 4 of your videos, so I thought it was a crux of a numerous one of your arguments. You actually used it to say that you were refuting a study that came from an intellectual institution. I forget which one it was. Vosh presented a study and you said, let me shoot this down, but you left out half the chart. And I'm bringing that up because I think that your evaluation of the evidence isn't always accurate.
Hold on, I'm going to pull... I think I know what you're talking about. Let me pull this up. Let's get to the bottom of this. By the way...
Yeah, gentlemen, I'd like you to agree. So, in the next 15 minutes, at 4:15, I'm wondering if you would be open to taking some callers with questions.
Yeah, I'd be down to take a few callers. I mean, we've beaten the shit out of this debate already. We've kicked this horse to death, for surely. I think that
give you guys another 17 minutes to hash it out, and then we'll bring... I have a caller, Half. He wants on. He's been wanting on for a little while, but go ahead, gentlemen. Keep going.
Sounds great.
All right.
Do you want to close out at all? Should we wrap it up, or did you want to do the video thing?
With what?
Well, look, I mean, I'd like to still make a couple arguments.
Okay. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
You have like 20 minutes.
So I just wanted to point out that it's not just one Harvard study that has found that there's no systemic racism in the criminal justice system. I could also point to the New Jersey Turnpike study. I could point to the Spokane police study that looked at reaction times. How quickly do police officers shoot potential suspects based off race? It found that they take longer on average to discharge a weapon at a black criminal than a white criminal. So they're more hesitant to shoot at a black suspect. In addition to that, there's the National Academy of Sciences study, which is fairly recent from 2019, found no correlation with the race of a police officer involved in a shooting and the race of the person shot. In addition to that, there's the Patrick Langan Bureau of Justice Statistics study. There's a research paper on National Longitudinal Study of Adolescent Health I talked about earlier. Again, that found that IQ in exposure to violence when controlled for resulted in no racial differences. So there's actually a lot of studies debunking the idea that the criminal justice system is systemically racist. And for left-wing and progressive type people to always act like there's just consensus that everyone agrees that the system is racist, that's simply not true.
Okay, well, I would say that for every study you have, I could refute it with several, but I would criticize you again on your own argument. You're again appealing to authority while attacking my appeals to authority. So I would respond with, right here, University of Michigan Law School, Michigan Scholarly Repository. They link the data, and it shows that robust evidence that black male federal arrestees ultimately face longer prison terms than whites for the same offenses. What's happening here is it's not that you can't ever find a case in which something is equal or in which something is disproportionate for white people, but you can't debunk the case that the system is full of racial inequalities that are racial bias. So, for example, let's go out to the realm of police shootings. If you go into access to proper linguistics for court trials, there was another study that said that people of minority descent were having a more difficult time finding those things, and they were actually being denied them in cases where they should be getting them. So if you look at it from different levels rather than focusing on one thing, you can see this all over the place. And once again, it's not about the individual officers. It's not like every officer is jumping to shoot black people. But for example, I could ask a sociological question of that and go, there is a culture around the fear of shooting black people because of the fact black people are shot so much, which is a systemic issue. Would that not contribute to Times drawing the pistol? It would say nothing about their racial opinions. It would just say that they have a fear of something.
Well, you agree, for example, that the black rates of violent crime is disproportionately higher. That you agree with the 1350 statistic, correct?
So what I would say is the 1350 statistic can be broken down and torn apart, but my ultimate refutation of that once again lies with the studies that prove that when controlling for environment, no one is more violent than the other. So I think the 1350 is just the easy explanation for the fact that black people have it worse off in their general communities. Like, 1350 goes a long way to being coupled with the lead paint studies that prove that lead paint in poor communities was linked to spikes in violence. Like, more black people were exposed to lead paint, therefore you would expect higher rates of violence. That is a larger systemic issue than just one in the justice system. But if you're citing a systemic issue to prove a systemic or to disprove a systemic issue, that's rocky ground.
All right. Well, does it not make logical sense if black people disproportionately commit violent crimes that there is a disparity then in the prison population? Wouldn't you expect that to logically follow from the former?
I would, but once again, what's causing the former is important. And also, it's important to notice that black people make up the majority of cases that are exonerated. And it's not like the justice system is going through every single case all the time, trying to make sure that people who need to get exonerated get exonerated. Many people have to go through their own cases. So let's say there was a totally equal system that would review every case and try to make sure anyone who was innocent got out. That would drastically change those numbers. And then also, I'd have to dissect the numbers. I honestly, this is me speaking from a position of not 100% knowledge. I do believe many of the numbers involved in the 1350 statistic only take arrests into account, which once again skews the numbers a little bit. Now, all of that said, I'm not going to deny that black people are committing more crime. However, there's environmental causes, which are systemic. So you're trying to use systemic issues to debunk systemic issues. That's faulty. And then on top of that, within the justice system itself, we once again have a lot of confirmation of these things occurring. So I fail to see how bringing up that statistic is going to debunk anything. No one's arguing that those rates aren't what they are. We're arguing why they are what they are. And that's a systemic argument.
So you talked about exoneration. So let me get your opinion then. Why is it that these black people are disproportionately being convicted when I guess there's a problem with the conviction later on?
Once again, that could easily be argued as a systemic issue. Black people are stopped more. Black people are usually given higher charges. Black people are often led into plea deals more. So let me offer a different assessment for you. White people are much more likely to commit fraud. Is it okay to stop white people on the basis that they might be doing fraud? Or do you have to, in a fair sense, not judge a white person on the street by the numerical actions of white people?
I don't understand what you're trying to say. You stop people for committing fraud? Like, the reason black people are pulled over by police is because either they have a warrant out for their arrest or the police witness a traffic violation. They're not being pulled over because they're black.
No, that's not being supported by evidence, though. No one's saying they're all being pulled over because they're black. We're just saying more black people are being pulled over. Now, the reason behind that would be systemic bias.
No, the reason behind that is because black people are more likely to speed. Again, that was the conclusion of the New Jersey traffic study I brought up earlier. When it controlled for traffic violations, it found no racial disparity. And it also found that black people are more likely to speed, and they're more likely to speed egregiously. And this is not the only study that's found that. The North Carolina traffic study found the exact same thing.
Well, once again, does black people speeding in one instance debunk all arguments about systemic racism? No. So I don't
Well,
really,
it certainly seems to debunk the idea that people are being pulled over for driving while black.
I'm not trying to say they're getting pulled over for driving while black. I'm trying to say they're getting pulled over because there's a perception that black people commit more crime.
Well,
And
because
you're
they do. You agreed that for environmental reasons, black people, in fact, do commit more crime.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying that the idea that we should pull over black people more because black people commit more crime isn't very solid. No more than it would be reasonable to pull me over because white people commit lots of fraud.
Well, you see, that's a straw man, though, because I'm not saying that the police should be able to pull over people just because they're black. I'm saying that the police aren't considering that in their basis for pulling black people over. Now, you mentioned earlier you agree that blacks disproportionately commit violent crime. So wouldn't that mean that they disproportionately have warrants out for their arrest, which would also explain why black people are stopped more often by the police?
Well, so really quick, just to counter that with a study, the Times did an analysis, and I think this is New York City. Let me open the thing really quick and find out what city this is. No, LAPD. So this is Los Angeles. So in Los Angeles, they found that you were 4 times more likely to be stopped when you were black, even though you were not 4 times more likely to be committing a crime. So I'm not saying that black people might not speed more. I'm saying that there are many instances in which blacks are stopped unduly.
Okay, did that study end up controlling for whether or not the people were speeding, and did it control for whether or not the people had warrants out for their arrest? Because in the New Jersey study, it did control for that, and because of that, and when it did that, it found that there wasn't a racial disparity.
So this study did control for that. It wasn't about speeding. This was about searches and contraband. But what I'm saying is one study that shows that there's not bias does not prove there's no bias. And so when compared to another study that does show bias, you can't say that bias doesn't exist. You're trying to argue
can't
no
you
bias
equally say that you can't prove that it does exist?
I can by citing the study I just cited. The study
Then
says
why can't I cite a study that says the opposite?
I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying that you citing a study that says that there wasn't bias in one case doesn't make it true that there's no bias in every case. You're trying to wave away every case with one study. I'm trying to say, look, there's plenty of studies that show in many cases there's a bias.
Yeah, well, I've actually brought up many different studies. I've not relied on a single out there study that's a misrepresentation of what we've been debating about.
I've used a different study every time, and so far I've cited more studies.
If you say so, I'll let the audience agree or disagree on that one. So you're certain that that LAPD study controlled for warrants. If I look this up after the debate, I'm going to find out that they controlled for whether or not the people pulled over had a warrant out for their arrest.
I believe so. You can check and try to prove me wrong. I would still contend with you any number of other studies where they found this, several of which are from the Institute of Justice. But yes, feel free to fact check anything I say and come at me after the video and critique me.
All right.
Okay, Spaceman, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is it possible to be racist against white people, or is that just a lie?
So this gets to be kind of complicated. A lot of people make a big separation between racism and prejudice, and there is an argument over whether or not racism is purely institutional. I think that's splitting hairs. Yes, absolutely. You can be prejudiced against white people. You can hate people for being white. Is that common? I've never encountered it. I've never heard of anyone who's encountered it, but I'm not saying it's not a thing. So yeah, I mean, I think you can be prejudiced against any group. You can be prejudiced against teachers or 5-year-olds, you know?
Any response to that, prosecutor?
I mean, I think it's splitting hairs. I would agree that yes, racism against white people is possible. I know that leftists like to do this thing where it's like power and privilege equals racism or whatever, which I just think is stupid. At the end of the day, if you define racism in a way that doesn't allow white people or doesn't allow racism against white people, then instead of a racist, you're just a bigot. So I mean, it's a waste of time. Definitional debate.
Yeah, well, I would agree. I think it doesn't go anywhere to do that. I think that's oftentimes a uniquely American thing too. A lot of times, people on the left are purely arguing in the American justice system. But no, I would agree with the prosecutor here that racism can exist anywhere given the right conditions. There's no rules that say that you can't be racist against white people.
Okay, gentlemen. Let's move towards closing statements, unless you have anything else that you want to bring up in particular, and then we'll take some callers, I think.
No, I think I'm good. Do you want to close first, prosecutor, since I opened?
Or would you like why don't you close first, since you had the first word?
All right. Well, I will close then. So, for my little closing statement here, I'm gonna once again. I know he told me not to. I know it's real gay, but I'm gonna bring up that burden of proof thing. The prosecutor is trying to prove a negative. A negative claim is the opposite of an affirmative claim. It asserts the non-existence of something. The difference of the positive claim is it takes only a single example to demonstrate a positive assertion, i.e., there is a chair in the room requires only pointing to one chair. While the inability to give examples that refute what the speaker is saying, that would mean that you cannot be proving your negative. And this is what they refer to as an argument from ignorance, a logical fallacy. There can be multiple claims within a debate. Nevertheless, it is said that whoever makes the claim has the burden of proof regardless of positive or negative content. So we both share burden of proof here. Your burden of proof, prosecutor, is harder. You need to disprove all of my claims. And so far, I fail to see that you can do that. I fail to see that any of the studies you cite destroy any of the studies I cite. And I fail to see how you can refute the overwhelming opinion of people within the institution criticizing the institution. And you do seem to draw it back to this belief that it's a conspiracy theory. It's not. No one is arguing that anyone's conspiring. We're actually arguing this is happening without conspiracy. Now, we could get into racism and individual police, but it's not even worth it. The system is the one with the major flaws. And I yield the floor.
All right. Well, I don't think that you've proven that the institutions of the criminal justice system are systemically racist. I believe that you do bear the burden of proof on that, but it's ultimately up to the audience to decide. And the audience should ask themselves, are you persuaded by what's been said in this debate that there is systemic racism in the criminal justice system? And what I would point out to you is that you shouldn't be convinced based on what was presented that the system is racist, because there are several academic studies that when things are controlled for, when it's taken for granted that Black people disproportionately commit violent crime, that in fact, when those things are controlled for, there are no disparities. And just because Spaceman can say that some judge or some senator believes the system is racist, well, that's not evidence. I mean, the judge in the Floyd versus City of New York case obviously didn't find that the system was racist. That's why they granted a motion for summary judgment on that claim. They didn't even let it go to a jury trial. It was so baseless that they just dismissed it outright. And when you hear about these other studies and these court cases that go nowhere, and you start looking into this and you start doing research, you end up realizing that the so-called academic consensus, the idea that every single person at every university and all judges and people in the government all agree that the police are racist, that the criminal justice system is racist, you start finding out that that's not true. There's actually a lot of evidence that's opposed to that. And I've presented, to the best of my ability, several pieces of those evidence. And I'm happy if anyone wants to get in touch with me afterwards. I have my own YouTube channel, The Prosecutor. You can look me up. I'm a conservative pro-law enforcement channel. But I'm happy to share any of the sources that I've provided with anyone who's interested.
And I would say the same thing. I encourage anybody to come check my sources and check out the prosecutor's channel and decide for yourself who is presenting the better body of evidence.
All right, gentlemen, there is a poll open at my Twitter at Power of the Truth. The voting is open at who won. Now, I just want to thank both of you gentlemen for coming on. I hope you feel you've been given a fair shake. I have some callers in Discord who'd like to ask you some questions. We have about 10 of them. We may not get to all of them, but I want to bring in Hef now. If that's agreeable to all. Earjuice, could you bring Hef into the show?
Oh, I know you.
Hef, you're on the air on the Kinodrome. How are you, my friend? Is this Ronnie?
Are you there?
Oh shit.
Yeah, are you there?
Howdy, gentlemen.
Hey, what's up?
Sorry, let me turn my volume up. I'm having trouble hearing you. All right, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Test,
yeah,
test.
yeah.
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we're good.
That was boring as fuck. I don't even know who was arguing what point. Did I hear you right? Is it Spaceman that you've never seen an instance of somebody being racist against white people?
Once again, purely anecdotal. In my experience, I've never seen it. And to background me slightly, I'm a gardener and a landscaper, so I spend a lot of time around a lot of minority people, and I spend a lot.
You're talking about like hanging out with Mexicans and shit.
So purely in my experience is all I'm saying. Once again, I believe that you can be racist against white folks.
Have you ever been on Twitter?
I don't go on Twitter, no. So once again, I'm not denying that racism against white folks can exist. The question was, have I experienced it? No, personally not.
Well, like somebody being racist against you? I mean...
Well, what, are you fucking retarded? Do you not think the fact that cops are more likely to shoot a white criminal, even though blacks commit crime at a higher rate? Do you not think that's a clear example of racism against fucking whites within a white nation?
How is affirmative action not prejudice or just racist against white people in a sense?
So I just wanted to check his facts there. I don't know. Are more white folks shot in America than black folks?
Well, the prosecutor, what was the study? What was the study? How much
It was a Spokane police study from 2013. It was done by Washington State University. They found that when confronted with an armed suspect, that police officers would more quickly shoot a white suspect than a black suspect.
Yeah, so do you not think, given that blacks commit crimes at a way higher fucking rate, that's a clear example of racism against whites?
No, I mean, once again, you got to prove that.
Do you know why? Do you know why cops are more hesitant to shoot niggers than white people?
My guess is there's controversy over it.
Yeah, they don't want to get lynched in the fucking street.
Well, I would
end up in the news and prosecuted for a fucking murder in a just shooting case.
Well, very few cops are charged for shooting, so I don't think there's some really necessarily major fear.
We got a couple examples now, don't we?
Well, so for example, in my own city, there was a man who shot a dog recently. He has 2 shootings under his belt that were fatal, and he wasn't released from the police force. I mean,
he shot a dog.
No, but he shot 2 people in his career before that.
Okay.
So I'm just saying,
what does that have to do with shooting the dog?
No, I'm just saying that's how I know him. You were talking about police fearing shooting people and how it's a big issue, and I'm like, I don't know that the police are routinely punished severely for shooting people. I think that oftentimes these issues are assessed and they're found to be in police favor.
Well, a lot of times it's just. I mean, when you're a police officer and you're in a position where your life is at risk, and you don't know what the individual you're dealing with is going to do, so you've got to take action to fucking protect yourself, right?
Well, so really quick, can I address the argument that was kind of being put forward by the guy in the picture up there? He's saying,
absolutely.
Yeah, he's saying that that it's reasonable because black people commit more crime that they're being arrested more, right? And that to not do so, to charge whites the same way because they commit less crime is racist. Right?
That's what you're saying, right, Surfer?
No, the guy behind you. Yeah, here we go.
Run that one by me again. Sorry, I'm a few beers deep, buddy. Run that one by me again. What are you talking about?
No, you brought up a question where you were saying is it racist against white people that guns are drawn faster on them?
Well, yeah, because they commit less crime. So you'd think that whoever commits more crime would be shot at a quicker time, but it's actually the group that commits less crime that's shot at a quicker time, and that's because the system is racist against whites.
So I have a question,
which is an absolute travesty because we live in a white nation. The system should actually be racist for whites, but it's not.
So I guess I want to ask a question there. Do you know what comprises the crimes in which these pistols were drawn? What were these crimes that police were more likely?
No, I don't. But I'm sure the prosecutor could give us the study again.
Does it matter? And
here's why I think.
And
it
according
matters.
to the statistics, usually the black people would be committing the violent crimes. So what? Somebody got pulled over for fraud, as you were saying earlier, which I don't know how the fuck that happens. And they get shot because they're white. But the nigger that just murdered an entire white family, he gets.
You'd have to prove that every black person that was drawn on was a murderer. And once again, with the fact that blacks are much more likely to get released because they're not going to be convicted of the crime after the fact that they've been arrested. Once again, this doesn't make any sense. You're saying that all black people are off murdering while all white people are not doing anything, even though blacks are consistently released way more than white people.
Not against them.
Is there a culture in white amongst whites to not rat on each other or fucking go to jail on behalf of somebody else to not seem like a rat in their neighborhood or is that a thing or is it the other way around?
In my experience, yes. I don't know how much hoodlumming you guys did when you were younger, but I did quite a lot of hoodlumming when I was younger, and it was very code of the street. You know what I mean? You don't narc on people. I got narked on once, and that was fucking ridiculous. And
because you're white.
What? No.
There's your example of racism against you right there.
No, it was a white guy.
You don't even recognize it because you're a fucking cuck and a nigger lover.
No, it was a white guy who narked on me.
Are you sure? What was his last name?
No. He was a friend of mine. His last name is Rogers. He actually is of Aryan descent. He's over 6 feet tall, long blonde hair.
Is this the Aryan's fault again, man?
What now?
Is this the Aryan man's fault that you were arrested?
Well, yeah, we were committing the same crime, and then he got picked up on a previous warrant, and he turned so as to, basically not get that charge.
So that proves my point. If it was a black guy, I bet you he would have taken the rap and then been exonerated later on down the road when they found out it was actually you.
In one additional study, it's not just the Spokane, Washington study. It's also the National Academy of Sciences police study that also found white people were more likely to be shot by police than blacks.
Does that correlate at all to the fact that there's much more white encounters because there's a lot more white people? Or was that
controlled for that?
Okay, controlled for that.
So, that's the rate
on a per capita basis. On a per capita basis, the race that's committing far less crime on a per capita violent crime on a per capita basis.
Of being fucking labeled as racist against blacks. My question is, why is a white nation like the one we live in cucking to fucking a foreign race?
Okay, let Spaceman answer. Go ahead. Whichever you want to answer.
I missed the last question.
He's saying why is a white nation cucking the foreign race when sorry, what was the rest of that server?
He left the room to get another beer. He's probably at least 6 beers.
Can you empirically prove the cucking of a race? And are we a white nation?
The real question is, does it fucking matter if you can empirically prove the cucking of a race?
Whiteness has changed over time. So, for example, the Italians and the Irish weren't white, and nowadays many Latinos are being counted as white. So, whiteness is kind of a weird way of looking at a nation.
What Latinos are being counted as white?
In many of these justice studies, they do count Latinos as white.
Which
prosecutor, can you back me up? This does happen.
Most of the studies I've looked at also separate out Hispanics.
Okay. Well, several of the studies I looked at, the complaints were that they weren't separating Hispanics out, or that they were lumping them in one group or the other. So once
Yes.
again, what can I ask again though? What does it even mean to be cucked as a nation? What does that mean?
Honestly, if you went retarded, you might. Hold on. Honestly, I'm getting very tired of definitions of terms and faggotry like this. Look, he's making a rhetorical point that the nation is being
Jesus Christ, I know.
whatever the fuck by another nation.
You answered that legitimately, like a retard.
No, it's not like an academic setting, for fuck's sake. It's a YouTube channel called Kinodrome.
I'm sorry. Can you
fine, but whenever you say someone's being
provide a
cucked,
study
like,
showing
prove
the
it, right?
country is being cucked by niggers?
And
Well, whenever
you know
you say
what?
someone's being cucked, you gotta prove it, right?
Say that the fraud rates of fucking white would go down a fair bit if you.
Do you believe that whites are being cucked because black dudes are fucking your wife? Like what's going on here? Why do you think that?
No, that's not what I fucking meant. I meant that the reason why cops are more likely to draw the gun on a fucking white criminal than a black criminal is because they're scared of being labeled as racist. And that concept is what I meant by the word fucking cock. If you want to get into your faggot definitions, but moving on, you brought up the point of fraud. Do you not think the fraud rate of whites would go down a whole fucking lot if you cut out
the
fucking
Jews out?
Okay, hold on. So I'm going to have you answer that question, but I want to say, let's give this another 7 minutes with this set of callers and Surfer, and then we'll bring in somebody else. We'll freshen it up. Maybe we'll get another liberal on or something to question prosecutor. Is that agreeable to everyone?
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Just to make it clear though, I'm not a liberal. I fucking hate the liberal. Liberals are the worst, man.
Are you a progressive?
No, I'm not a progressive either. No.
What are you then?
Well, you're gonna get into the arguments of what it means. I am an anarchist, and yeah, I know it. According to you, I'm sure it means burning trash fires or whatever. But I don't go out and riot. I assure you. I believe in society beyond institution, and that's a long, you would consider it to be a long, very gay discussion. So I'll spare you that. But no, I'm not a liberal.
It sounds long, gay, and boring.
That is a long, very gay discussion. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
No.
So back to the question though. What was the question that you wanted me to answer? You want me to answer something?
Ask him again. He said you think that the fraud rate amongst whites would be lower if we excluded Jews, I think.
Okay. No. I don't think Jews comprise a big enough portion of the society or of accounting or of the fraud rates for it to matter. No, and nor do I believe in any kind of international Jewish cabal or conspiracy.
Wait, so Jews are too small of a population to comprise a majority of anything? Are you saying?
I'm saying that I do not believe that Jews can rise the majority of the fraud charges. Now, if you can prove that, then that's fine.
Have you not read the protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion there, bud?
Ooh, that is a fake propaganda book. That's very funny.
Thanks, man. Blowing Surf out.
Well, I've got a question. How would you resolve this so-called systemic racism against blacks?
Okay, so if you want my actual answer, I actually think it's not that difficult. So you got to go in a couple different realms here. One is you got to address the conditions that are causing black people to commit more crime. That is an important thing. We can't skip over that. But number two, tell a little anecdote here. So I trained with a police officer who was baton and firearms instructor, and he was also a prison guard for many years. And he told me that he believed in his line of work, teaching cops, several of which who shot people, that one of the number one reasons why people are shot is police officers are undertrained. He had 2 weeks to train them, and that standard might have changed, but they were put through his baton course for 2 weeks. So I don't know what his firearms course was, but he thought that was woefully inefficient. He would have liked 6 months with these guys to really teach them how to be not afraid in a situation and how to be able to control and manipulate another human being.
should be
Wait,
trained.
yeah. So
Really
are you
quick,
saying if we train cops
let me
more, the
finish what I'm
blacks
saying.
will stop committing
Let
as
me
many
finish what I'm
violent
saying.
crimes?
Okay,
Let
go
me
ahead.
finish what I'm saying. So not only do we have to address what's causing the crime, but we do have to address how the police are changed. And then I'd even go a step further than that. I would kind of split up the duties of the departments so we could focus more attention on things like murder investigation and less attention on things like small drug crime. Because I think that changing the focus of the justice system is important, and I think that would help solve some of these racial issues. But mainly, you got to go outside the justice system. What is the justice system if not a small part of our regular society?
And I would respond to that by saying that the reason that people commit crimes is because they're entitled narcissists. So fostering this quality in Black culture that they're constantly being discriminated against only serves to make them more entitled and more narcissistic, and thus creates this cycle where they constantly commit more crime.
So wait, can you empirically prove narcissism? Because if we're just pulling shit out of our ass, man, I drive around all the time and work with old white clients. Old white clients are the most entitled people on earth.
Actually, more to solve the problem, right?
I've got I've got another point to address. You said there was no difference in IQs between races.
Not when factors are controlled for.
All right.
Well, that's just a blatantly retarded thing to say.
Well, the prosecutor was arguing that factors need to be controlled for. So if the prosecutor can argue factors,
have you seen? Well, he's a retard too. Have you seen IQs compared by countries on a map by any chance?
Well, once again, what causes that? So, for example, those studies are all very flawed because if you test the IQ of a person using a Western IQ test in a country where no one speaks English, it's not going to work out well.
How do you translate an IQ test into fucking clicks?
Well, how do you even verify an IQ test is a valid measurement? So let me pitch you a question here. Have you read the bell curve?
No.
Okay. The bell curve makes all the arguments you're making. You should go watch a refutation of the bell curve. It will explain all of those. Like, this is hours long.
You should go watch a refutation of the refutation and then get back to me.
No. Feel free. Feel free to watch a refutation of the bell curve.
No, I'm telling you to. I'm telling you to watch a refutation of a refutation of the bell curve and then get back to me. Because I don't give a fuck about either.
Well, I'm just saying the bell curve makes all your arguments. So if you really want the answers, then you can go look into why that information is flawed. If you don't want the answers, we can just sit here and shit talk. That's fun too. I'll bust out my bong and we'll get smoking.
Right. Well, riddle me this: why are niggers violent, whether they're on one continent or another?
I just want you to confirm. You said our police need to be trained more, right, Spaceman?
Yes, and differently. The training needs to be adapted.
So you're agreeing. So you're actually disagreeing with all the other anarchists and saying that we should actually fund the police more to improve their training.
No, I'm saying we should reallocate funding.
The other question I have for you. The other fucking question I have for you is, what do you think it is that causes blacks to commit crimes at such a higher rate? If it's not their biological fucking propensity. What do you think it is?
We already went over this several times, but it's environment.
It's environmental practice.
If you study science in every possible condition, environment is the number one factor. There's never been any evidence to show that genetic factors overwhelm environmental factors, even if they contribute in some way.
Okay,
what about cultural factors?
Even though the environment and where we live,
I want to address his question. He said, "What about cultural factors?" Hang on.
Though the environment gives them things like affirmative action and gives them higher rates of welfare payments, you think that actually causes them to commit more crimes, even though they're favored in the environment, eh?
No, see, and that's, once again, that doesn't mean they're favored in the environment. That means you're helping them out. And yes, I'm sure affirmative action has contributed to a few less black kids being in the ghetto committing crimes. Is that the full solution? No. But really quick, to address Spartan Guy's Head's question, what about cultural differences? Can you separate culture from environment? No. So it's the same argument.
Okay, so you think that blacks just need to be taught a better culture and that they shouldn't be listening to things like rap music that
more whites listen to rap music than blacks, dude. What I'm saying is we got to change the environment.
Wait, so you're saying you can take a nigger out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the nigger?
No, I'm saying if you remove the hood, you no longer have hood mentality.
Okay.
So like imagine if there was no hood. Imagine if there was no hood. Would you have people gang banging from the hood?
We just wouldn't have niggers then.
No, to be honest with you, I don't completely blame blacks for that sort of culture. It is sort of the Jews that push it on.
yeah, it is. He's right there.
You tell them, Stefan. You tell them about the kids.
What, about the Jews? No, that's all I gotta say about the Jews. But there's people like Jerry, the fucking NWA, that sort of push that sort of shit.
Tell them about the evils of Jerry.
Yes, but yet again, Jerry Heller is considered part of the white superpower, right?
I actually don't know who Jerry Heller is. I'm sorry, I just don't know the name.
That's okay. He was the manager of NWA and he fucked Ice Cube's money.
Okay.
Did you see Straight
Well,
Out of
I don't like Ice Cube, so whatever. I'm just kidding. What was the question though?
Spaceman, smoke your bong tonight and watch the movie Straight Out of Compton, and you'll learn about Jerry Heller. You should enjoy it. I think you would.
But yeah, I know. Like, I want the best for blacks, and I think that blacks need to start like adopting the family and more Christian values, like they did in the terms of slavery and the Jim Crow laws. If they could just get back to that, maybe they'd be a little better off. You know.
So once again, I don't. I don't know if there's any body of evidence to prove that black people abandon those things. There certainly is lots of evidence to prove that black people live in bad conditions, which result in bad behaviors and further bad conditions. But I don't think there's a lack of Christian black people.
Okay, here's the thing, gentlemen. I'm going to give you guys each surfer and have another question or two, maybe 2 questions each, and then we got to move on to another caller. There's like 12 people waiting. I want to get to at least.
This is going to be a long call.
However much time you gentlemen can give us, and then we'll move on. But I really appreciate you fielding questions. Do you have anything else?
No, I do.
Yeah, I got a quick one. Do you think giving poor black people free money is helping them or hindering them?
I would say that overall, if you're infusing the lower classes with money, it's a positive thing. However, like, here's my argument against universal basic income. The more money you give everybody, the higher the rent rates are going to go. So it's almost like nothing's happening. And that's my problem with welfare in general. It's not that I don't believe you need to help everybody. I just don't think it's offsetting the negative qualities.
You don't think free money incentivizes laziness?
I don't know that free money by definition incentivizes laziness. Once again, if someone was giving me free money, I'd constantly be out doing shit. But once again, environmental factors might play into that. My environment's a lot different from a poor black woman who needs all that money to feed her kids and still works 2 jobs. So
why is she getting all the? Why does she have all those kids?
Well, you could argue the same thing about a white woman in a trailer park. There's numerous white women on welfare. I don't know what the numbers are, but there's a ton of white chicks on welfare with a bunch of kids. Isn't the problem really poverty? Why are all these poor white women out there? Why aren't we doing a better job of protecting the poor? Once again, having kids is linked to poverty. It's been shown that birth rates decline the more affluent welfare. Like I said, birth rates are attached to poverty. Birth rates decline the more affluence you have. So actually, theoretically, if we gave all the black people a ton of money, the birth rate should decline. I don't think that's realistic. But I think if you solve the poverty problem, you would see that go down. And that's a huge fucking issue. Solving poverty is like a way bigger discussion.
Well, why hasn't the war on poverty solved poverty then?
Okay, so once again, we're going to get deep into this shit. So what motivates capitalism? The profit motive. So when you build a society under which the number one motivation for all social interactions is profit, I don't know how you don't get poor people. But I don't want to argue capitalism with you. That'll take us days, man. That'll take us so many days. So that's my answer. My answer is fix poverty and you'll fix those problems you have with the poor.
Okay. Do you have anything else, or do you want me to pass it to another caller?
Both of these guys are mega faggots. That was very boring. If I hear the word study one more time, I'm gonna fucking hang myself.
No, if we took a shot every time the word study was said, we would probably all be dead.
It's an empirical argument. Like, what do you expect? Like, how
No, it's okay.
else am I supposed to prove it?
Liven it up.
Don't worry,
Call each other
prosecutor. I'm the
faggots.
Bernie Taupin to your
Slap
Elton
each other
John.
around a little bit. I
No,
couldn't even pay attention to your arguments. They were so fucking boring. I don't even know what you guys were saying to each other.
I, for one, thought it was a good debate. I thought the prosecutor had a lot of points that were pretty hard to argue with.
Yeah, because you're a fucking nerd too.
But prosecutor, I will say, prosecutor, you are one of the more coherent people who make these arguments. You're pretty easy to understand, and you don't come off as stupid. So yeah, definitely, we're a bunch of high-minded intellectuals here. We're Bernie Taupin and Elton John all the way.
Okay then,
They're
Elton
sucking each
John,
other's
the
cocks
favorite
now.
singer of these two, I guess.
Oh, you're well studied too, sir.
Oh, I know. At least my wife's not fucking
You're
black.
into
people,
debate.
right?
My wife is not fucking black people. Are you
Oh,
married?
sure.
Are you married?
No, I'm not.
Well, why? Because your girlfriend keeps leaving you for niggers?
No, because I don't need a wife to fuck black dudes for me. I'm not you.
Black dudes. Well, I don't have some sort of. I'm not kowtowing to spooks.
I don't know, man. They're banging your wife, so sounds like you've cowed the Tao.
Yeah, but at least fucking black dudes for himself.
Say what? Black dudes for felt? We're fucking people for felt now? We're doing arts and craft projects or something?
No, he's saying that I'm not fucking black people myself. How much nigger dick do you suck?
I don't know. It depends. You're the one asking all these questions about nigger dick. How familiar are you?
Well, you're the one that brought up niggers fucking people.
Well,
I'm
you were
just-
talking
I'm
about
just
being
turning it around
cucked
on
by
you.
black people. You brought up being cucked by black people.
I think
so
that was Surfer, but
I don't know. It sounds like you've
why
been
don't you
cucked.
answer the question? Do you suck nigger
You
dick?
know what, guys? I
It's
work
simple, yes or no. Do you suck nigger dick?
No, I don't
This
suck any
hot
dick,
girl-
man. I'm not you.
Black girl is darker than my fucking shirt that I'm wearing right now. And I told her to watch my show. And she's been watching Cooking with Surfer. And she told me today, she said, I've been watching your cooking show. And it's so great. She just loves it. You know? And this is the sort of shit that I spew.
Amazing.
And that's because she knows that my
What do you cook on your cooking show?
best for whites, but the best for her people as well.
Oh, no, what do you cook on your cooking show?
All sorts of shit, you know. Sometimes I cook pork chops. Sometimes I cook fucking duck. Sometimes I fucking cook bacon carbonaras with tuna. Next time I'm doing fucking whole rabbits. Next
Oh,
time
shit.
I'm cooking.
That actually sounds delicious.
PPP.
I'm sorry.
And then after that, the Cornish.
So do we want to hit up another caller? Because I got
gonna
pissed
bounce.
her really bad.
Just get rid of half. He's made his point that they're
Yeah,
gay.
I'm bouncing. Very gay.
Hey, buddy.
All right. Who is the next caller, Eugene?
Moist boy.
Sounds like the sort of guy that watches Catboy Candy.
All right, Moist Boy, you're on the air. Make
It says his mic. Oh, there it is. It says his mic. is
Hello?
muted. Hey, what's
Hello?
up?
Yeah. I'd like to ask. It's a question for both of these esteemed gentlemen. Do you both have fathers that when you grew up, or were you single parent homes?
So I had a mix of these things. Now, see, my mother and father divorced when I was very young, and then we moved to an island in which essentially I had two moms because my Filipino mom lived with us, and not in a gay way. They just both took care of me as a kid because they both worked long jobs because, you know, being single women. And my mom then married a man from Australia, and that's my sister's
It
dad.
really was like a yes or no question. We don't need like a fucking soliloquy.
Well, then I guess the answer would be yes and no.
I grew up in a traditional family.
Okay, could you do me a favor and on air, could you call your father and apologize, both of you, for being so low testosterone and fucking boring?
I don't know if you should be making that point, voice boy, for your voice sounds like it also has a lot of estrogen.
Oh no, you sound like a pussy. Your name's Moist Boy, and you're calling in here with daddy issues.
So I don't know. But
go
back to sucking yourself off, man.
I guess I'm blown the fuck out by the anarchist. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I guess you got me.
I know he should be used to having himself blown out.
Where's all this energy? We've listened to 4 hours about fucking studies, and now all of a sudden, that would have been
That's because we were having a
Yeah.
debate. Now we're just shit talking. This is the fun stuff. We're just making fun of each other. Before we were trying to have a debate. You know?
I was actually trying to prove something.
Did you not listen to PPP earlier?
We've been trying to have a civil.
Did you not like
No,
listen
so
to him?
what about?
I mean, okay, maybe in the future I won't do political debates on PPP's channel. I mean, you guys, like, we presented you an intellectual debate on systemic racism, and you're all going to come in here and just shit on all of us. You okay? Then why don't you do the debate?
Well, hang on. To these guys' credit, I do want to say that clearly we riled them up. For whatever reason, our intellectual high talk made them feel like their dicks were small, and they got to come in here and yell about it. So I think we scored a major goal.
All right.
I think you gentlemen did exactly what you intended to do by coming on the show.
How big my dick is? Watch the pork chops fucking screen.
Wait. Is your dick shaped like a pork chop?
And how the fucking Jews have fucked the blacks through fucking rap music and other fucking cultural bullshit.
Ooh, Starscream. What the fuck is TTS?
What is going on? Starscream is an idiot. He's banned for life.
Banned for life? See, I personally think this is an excellent debate for him. He let us have a great debate. There's amazing theatrics. We're getting to shit talk guests. This is hilarious.
Myself, so the stream can now hear me. Dr. Gunt, are you there, sir?
Hello, Dr. Gunt, you best fucking
His microphone's muted.
Oh, fuck.
I swear to God, I'll fucking hang you if you don't unmute your microphone! Fuck!
Dr. Gunt, you suck.
Scum, you swine!
Alright, I'll bring in someone unmuted. Okay.
You're banned for life, you degenerate swine!
Got official JRQ. Official JRQ.
How do I forget?
You're live on
Yeah,
the
bring that guy on.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. If you could get a little closer, that'd be nice.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna pause the live stream so I can actually hear things. I actually want to be very quick. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to say. One, with Spaceman, the IQ test. I firmly believe that's not has nothing to do with race, because the creator of the IQ says that the IQ test itself isn't adequate in measuring intelligence. So I mean, it's still a field of study. I mean, some people are going to have different beliefs about it, and other people are going to have others. So that's all up to interpretation. One, I also like to talk about the Irish and Italian thing. You said that Irish and Italians were not considered white. That's historically inaccurate, because there are no Irish-only establishments. There's no pictures from what I've seen, no video footage of Irish people going to Negro or Black type of establishments because they were forced to by law. Yes, there were discrimination, but that was mostly because they were Catholic and also immigrant groups. It had nothing to do with race, or people did not think of them as anything other than. Now, there was, for a short period of time in the 1800s, where Irish were looked at as ape-like, but that was because Irish people, I mean, there is a history of Irish people looked at as violent people, violent drunks, and that's where the caricature comes from. However, Irish and Italian people were always considered white right after the 1800s. I mean, and for that short period of time, they were mostly white in the 1800s or looked at.
Well,
From what
I guess it's important to go back even further. So, for example, the British invaded Ireland. This is a long time ago, and they actually
I know about
small-scale genocide. They
I
perpetrated
know about that.
small-scale
I'm part
genocide
Irish.
because they believed the Irish weren't white. They believed they weren't English, or they believed they were subhuman.
That's not true. That's not true. The crown itself looked at Irish people as white. It was because they were Catholic.
Once again, Irish people and Italian people were not considered in the same standing in America. These were not looked at as white groups.
That's
These were
not
looked
true.
at
Please
as
show me.
ethnic
Please show me evidence of Irish and Italian people being pushed away from white-only establishments. That is not true.
They're still looked at as ethnic minorities.
Please show me where. Please show me where. Please show me in anything from a law from 1850 all the way up.
You're gonna have to let me Google. 1 second.
Yeah, please Google. And also, please Google the did you use the LAPD study?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, right here it says the data analyzed by the Times does not show why an officer pulled over a driver. So please tell me, how does that show that there's racism?
Yeah, that's the thing that he said the study controlled for. I had him double down on it.
Okay, I mean, you can't use studies that show that there's a disparity and it doesn't show like a reason why there's a pullover. Like you have to be concrete evidence. Now, I also have a question for you, Spaceman, because you talked about lead paint. I have a question. Why are there disparities between Hispanics and blacks? Looking at crime rates, police shootings, government assistance spending, almost every metric, there are disparities between Hispanics and blacks. And you talked about lead paint. Hispanics live in similar buildings in similar places, and actually in the same buildings sometimes, depending on the neighborhood, where there is lead paint in the walls. However, the crime rates are not the same. And this is the same for whites, Asians, East Asian, Western Asian, Arab people, whatever. The crime rates are not similar. Blacks in New York City per capita have the highest violent crime rates.
So really quick, in the same way you're asking me to prove the Irish thing, which I am trying to look and read about right now, can you prove the lead paint thing?
You were the one who brought up the lead paint. I didn't bring up.
I know, and lead paint has been correlated in violence, not just amongst blacks, but amongst all people. I'm not saying that.
But the rates are not dissimilar. The rates are not
no, because black people were disproportionately put in those conditions. Now, lead paint has been being revised. There's been lots of places where they've been removing and repainting.
I know. I live in New York City.
Yeah, well, so once again, that's a long-standing condition. So it has been being remedied, but black people were far more exposed to that than others.
Okay, then let's take out the lead paint. Now, for the same thing, crime rates. What about government assistance spending? What about high school dropout rates? There is a disparity between Hispanics and blacks on every single metric place. I read the studies that show that there is systemic racism in terms of police force. I read that. And in that study, they actually conflate the black and Hispanic populations. They not talk about the disparities between the two groups. I would ask, why is there disparity between the two groups on every metric? Because this whole discussion has been about white and black. No, hold on. This whole discussion has been about white and black, and then you take that white and black and be like, oh, there we go. Bam, racism. Checkmate. But why are there disparities amongst Hispanics and blacks? Now, are you saying that these white cops who are racist against black people are not racist against or anything? These judges, the police people, whoever you're talking about, because you try to redefine systemic racism and move the goalposts when the debate started. Are you saying that these people who are racist against black people, not racist against Hispanics?
Well, once again, so I'm not moving the goalposts. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. You're saying
no, you did. You redefined systemic racism when the debate started. I was here from the beginning.
What's your definition of systemic racism? Because we seem to be operating off different ones.
That the system itself is racist.
Oh, okay. Well, so
that's the mainstream talking point.
Then why are you talking about how individual cops are racist if the argument's about the system?
Because the mainstream talking point about cops is the police system itself is racist because it stems from people taking slaves and I mean I researched that's the bone, but still that's the mainstream talking point, especially amongst the black left.
I've never heard
you're parroting black leftist talking points. So so you redefine the subject or the term systemic racism, but you're using black left talking points.
I'm actually not using black left talking points. I'm using sociological talking points and studies conducted by numerous institutions, many of which I know are predominantly white, Like I said, for example, the FBI isn't
No,
overwhelmingly
I understand. I understand that those institutions are predominantly white. However, for the majority, if you go into a lot of these, I mean, I'm sure you said you have Mexican people. You know, do you know any black people?
Yes, I actually have a black client that I just worked for yesterday.
All right, well,
we discussed all the people that I grew up with who were black and went to high school with who were black.
Okay, what state do you live in?
California.
Okay, yeah, California blacks are a lot different than the rest of the country. All right, well, yeah, but yeah, you're going on. What did you say?
Well, like I said, I guess I was confused by the way you were phrasing the question.
Well, yeah, there are disparities. You looked at you bring up studies that compare white and black, and they'd be like, bam, that's racism, or that's evidence of systemic racism.
I'm not the one claiming that's evidence of systemic racism. The study is claiming that. I'm giving you the study. If you don't like the study,
I know what the studies are because I've seen all these types of studies. These studies just present a disparity and be like, and they categorize that as discrimination. You're the one parroting what the study is, and actually instead of going through the study and thinking about it with your brain.
I went through many of these studies and did read them, and most of them are very generous to the police. I actually personally disagree with many of the studies when they say that all people on the ground level are unracist. I think there's a couple racists out there. Not all of them.
I'm going to give the caller maybe 2 more minutes. Say what you need to say.
No, I have one more thing. No, I'll be out. I have one more thing because if I'm not mistaken, you brought up drug convictions or drug arrests earlier. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, in relation to the prosecutor's charts. I was citing 2 charts versus 1.
Okay, and you also brought up the New York Times. However, you didn't mention that the New York Times found that blacks are more likely to smoke outside than whites.
Oh, okay. Does that mean less blacks are smoking than whites?
No, that's not what I said at all. But if black people are more likely to smoke outside, they're more likely to be arrested for smoking, and they're also more likely to be convicted. And also, a lot of the time with drug convictions, those are plea deals or plea bargains.
That's true, which means that in many cases the defendant may or may not be guilty.
No, they're about 2 to 5% of convictions are false. So that means that the criminal justice system has about a 98 to 95% chance of getting things right.
Can you show me the statistics on convictions that prove that there's that number is the exact number of coerced or decided upon?
It was a pro inmate group.
Well, what I'm saying is, does that account for people who pled to that because they didn't know what to do, or they were coerced, or any number of things like that? Plea deals in and of themselves have been described as coercive, and there is an argument over whether they're coercive.
No, I agree. I'm not on the board of plea deals. I would actually like to see plea deals getting rid of. I mean, I think that whole system itself is bad.
Okay. Do you guys mind? I have to piss furiously. Do you have a question for the prosecutor briefly, so I can just take a dip out? And then I'll return in a couple seconds.
No, pretty much no. I mean, I think for the most part, you are. From what I get, you're a little bit more centered in terms of this race things. However, you were a little bit far off with never seeing racism or from your knowledge, not of it, anti-white racism knowing, because I'm half black and half white, and it's a pretty mainstream thing for black people to be anti-white.
Okay.
Okay, official JRQ, we appreciate your calling. We're moving to the next caller.
I will return in a moment.
Okay.
Alrighty. Let's try Stretch. It'll be funny.
We'll do maybe 2 more callers and then we'll move.
Welcome to the Kinodrome, sir.
What's up?
Not much.
I'm good.
Spaceman's gone to the bathroom, by the way. Do you have a question?
No, I was making fun of retards in the other thing. I wasn't watching. I don't care about race realism. Fuck niggers.
Do you have something you want to debate in the next debate?
I mean, somebody's welcome to challenge me to something. I don't mind having a fucking spurred slap fight. But no, I don't have anything off topic.
No worries, my friend. We'll send you back into to dunk on other debate.
Cool.
Have fun, man.
Thanks.
All right, brother. We'll see you in the other side. Bring us another caller.
Alright, let's try this Cliff dude. Cliff Wallace, you are live on the Kinodrome, sir. Do you have a question? And you need to unmute.
You need to unmute, maggot.
Sorry about that. I had to piss out a whole fucking 2 liter.
Don't worry, spaceman.
Excuse me, sir. We're trying to have a discussion. Alright, well, Cliff.
That's right, Rat.
Yeah, his mic's still off.
Yeah, his mic's off. Alright.
You're banned for life.
Let's try Lely. Lely? You're live
We have
on
a great
Kinodrome,
enemy,
whatever
White.
your name is. Unmute. Ask your question.
Unmute, you maggot.
Do they know they're muted, or is their hearing muted too?
Nah. They're just mute. Someone just sitting in the VC. It's hard to work out at this point.
Yeah, Discord was honestly confusing for me.
Alright.
I'm Discord stupid.
Booty Slayer, you're live on Kinodrome. Do you have a question, or are you just fucking around, sir?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, I wanted to ask, Spaceman, are you a homosexual or transsexual?
Nope, solid straight white guy like fucking chicks, you know.
and you're sure you're not Jewish, not even a little bit.
No, dead certain. So you want to know my family history? I descend from William.
I mean, not really. I just want to know if you're Jewish or not.
Descend from William the Conqueror.
I don't believe that, but okay.
I have the family records to prove it.
I mean, look, I understand why you don't like cops since you're like a.
No, I don't have a dislike for cops. I mean, you guys.
Are you a felon? Are you a felon?
I was charged with a felony once when I was a minor,
my
but you
God.
can't be
So you're a
convicted of a
felon.
felony in California if you're a minor.
You live in California?
Yeah.
Oh my. So no, okay, that explains a lot.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, I just want to say, yeah, the bell curve is pretty based. I don't know what problem you have with that.
Dude, look into any research about the bell curve.
I'm not going to do that, but
Hernstein Maury's entire assessment, Hernstein Maury's entire methodological research has been debunked. And the institution that funded the bell curve.
yeah, the bell curve is fucking based.
Maury? You're saying Hernstein and Maury's assessment is what you're saying?
That's the authors of the bell curve. That's the authors of the bell curve. Yeah, so Hernstein and Maury's data analysis and all their assessments have been proven bunk multiple times. And I don't think you'll care who funded the bell curve, but I think you'll find it interesting when you look it up.
Okay. Well, my last question is, what do you say? What do you say to the fact that poor whites commit less crime than poor blacks?
I would once again say environmental factors. The disparity in poverty level between poor whites and poor blacks is different. So once again, if we're assuming crime is linked to poverty, like all studies show, black people are poorer, therefore they would commit more crime. And I'm not arguing that with you. I'm arguing why it happens. I'm not arguing that it happens.
So poor whites who are at the same poverty level as poor blacks commit less crime.
No, what I'm saying is that there is more poverty among the black community. So, for example, there are more poor blacks per capita than poor whites per capita. So you would expect to see that. That's not something that should be confusing. That should make sense.
Okay, buddy. All right. Well, that's all I wanted to say. I'm out of here.
Thank you, Booty Slayer 9000, for your contribution to the Kinodrome.
No, the gay lion who hates the Jews.
I got one more.
One more caller, and then we will call an end to this, gentlemen.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Shamu.
Let's bring on the hate.
You're live on Kinodrome. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Just got one thing to ask. I know you've all seen it. I want to get everyone's opinion on. I heard Spaceman mention Vouch, so I want to get everyone's opinion on the Cthulhu monster he has in the other room, and that's my question.
The Cthulhu monster in the other room. Wait, what now? I don't watch that much Vouch. I just have watched a couple things in the past, and I watched the prosecutor's takedowns of him to kind of see what his thoughts were on Vaush's arguments.
Oh, you see, there was a stream where Vouch accidentally started a stream and he was completely naked, and he has this like thing he calls a girlfriend, but it looks more like a Cthulhu monster, right? Like something in your nightmares. Like, kind of makes you want to end your life after you see it. So if everyone wants to give their thoughts, that's all I got.
Having not seen it, I don't know. It sounds pretty horrific, though.
Yeah, that picture makes my eyes.
Whatever it is, it sounds like it's a Cthulhu monster. Cthulhu looks pretty crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
If he's fucking a stuffed animal Cthulhu, that's a little strange. But I mean, who am I to judge? You know, if you want to fuck stuffed Cthulhu, go ahead and do that shit. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, now I see why everyone hates you, Spaceman. Okay. Bye.
That's it.
All right, I think that's it for the callers for you guys. Anything you guys want to say at the end here? To wrap it up, we really appreciate you coming on. Spaceman got a lot of shit for being a leftist. He tried to hold his own quite well. Prosecutor, you came in with the right-wing view. Most of the audience was on your side. But I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I just do a shout out for my YouTube channel, The Prosecutor. I understand some of you thought this was kind of boring, and I'm sorry about that. I did try and do the best to make an intellectually conservative case against systemic racism. If that's the sort of thing that interests you, then consider checking out my channel. Thanks.
So, yeah, I want to agree with the prosecutor. I think we were having a little bit high-minded of a debate for this venue, but I thought it went well. The prosecutor was, for the most part, very honest in the debate, and I think he actually brought forth legitimate concerns and complaints. So, once again, this is an ongoing debate, whether or not you believe the evidence bears out on it or not. So I think it is important to discuss this kind of shit. And yeah, go ahead and keep looking into it.
All right, gentlemen, you guys can go do whatever the hell you want. You can stick around and keep watching. I think we might get some Spags in to scream about Batman and Superman or some shit like this. Different change of pace, but I appreciate you guys bringing your intellectual refinement to the Kinodrome.
Yes, remember.
Well, yeah, thank you for having us, and hopefully next time we'll just bring some video game minded trash talk to the table.
Yeah,
Right,
thanks a lot, PPP.
Without exception, with Jews you lose, and around blacks never relax.
No, Surfer! You're scaring away the guests with your ethno nationalist crap.
I don't know. I think he's bringing in the crowd, but that might not say anything good about the crowd. So we'll have to say goodbye to the cucks for now. And thank you, prosecutor, for debating me. I know that you probably have other people on your tab who are a little more interesting to have at it with, who might have a platform. But thank you for debating me.
No problem. It was nice having a debate. Thanks for hosting it, PPP.
All right.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, good to see you
No,
guys.
respect to Spaceman and respect to the fucking prosecutor. Fucking good job, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
God, that guy was a real faggot.
Okay. I know, you juice. It was kind of fucked up. It wasn't quite what we were hoping for. Maybe we'll get some people in here who want to discuss something in a less homosexual way.
I know there's Spags that shadow box each other. You should try that. That's always good.
Yes, I would love to see some Spags fucking shadow box.
Yeah, well, it's where they
Is there
fight,
anyone?
but they're in different countries, so they actually box on the face cam while facing each other.
What? That's amazing! You'll have to link me to this shit so I might see it with my own eyes.
It is amazing, yes. I think live shadow boxing is definitely a more Kinodrome sort of thing. It's definitely what we need.
I would love to do that on the Kinodrome. I've sent the link out once again in the chat. For anyone to join the Kinodrome and come in with a grievance, I'd like to get some people in to debate some things. Is there anyone in the actual Discord now, you juice, that wants to come in and argue something?
I'll have a look. Oh, just wait.
Have a look. If not, we're fucked. But we'll give it a few minutes at least.
Let me ask. Come on to debate. Shit.
would like to get at least one fucking crazy debate in on the inaugural edition of the Kinodrome. I know we've gone for like 2 fucking hours already.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But oh well. That's what you get.
Yeah.
American politics. Moist Boy reckons he'll debate something. Not sure.
Okay. We were a little hard on Moist Boy, but it was just because he was criticizing others for what he obviously was guilty of himself.
Well, the guy's name is Moist Boy. Like, I mean, fuck. He didn't quite sound like Video Game Snake, but he was almost there.
Alright.
Oh my fuck!
We could do Stretch versus Moist Boy. They're gonna...
Okay, but what do they disagree on? What's going to be the topic?
Who's the biggest faggot? I don't know.
Well, they might argue about that, but like some type of fucking topic, some shit.
You know, coming in here, I thought it was going to be the leftist, but it was actually Moist Boy.
Best way to kill a spook.
Well, we might debate that, but it might get us kicked off the fucking platform.
You wouldn't kill roaches with a magic spell.
Yes. Can you complete the Moon Man line?
No, buddy, I'm not gonna complete the Moon Man line. We've gone through like fucking 4 YouTube accounts in the last like 3 months. Or you want to go through a 5th?
Yes, actually. Gator, get the flags, Gator.
Yeah, well, that's it's always it's targeted flags that does it. So it happened to my channel. I just shut it down for 3 months just to keep it. So.
Fuckers.
You know, and that's absolutely correct. Like, Moist Boy isn't the biggest faggot. It is, in fact, Shannon. You know, Shannon Dane.
Well, he was the original faggot.
Yeah. Has been the faggot longer than anyone. Like, the guy's been a faggot since, like, 1949.
Alright, let's try this. Stretch is willing to debate a spag about anything. Let's bring in Stretch.
Okay.
And let's bring in Moist Boy and see if Moist Boy wants to talk. Moist Boy, are you there, sir?
Moist Boy, are you there?
Moist Boy, I feel like I'm gonna have a seizure standing in this fucking room. So, like, please say something.
I'm the second fag.
Here we go.
You're the second fag next to Shannon. I see.
What are we arguing?
Well, does either of you have a hot take?
What do you think about the Jews, Moist Boy?
No!
I love Israel so fucking much. I love it so much. I can't even... God, I'm so fucking hard right now thinking about Israel.
You beat off at night thinking about Israel?
6 million wasn't enough.
Oh shit, are we gonna debate?
What a disaster for the Kinodrome! We're already demonetized! No!
I'm gonna I'm
Okay,
pro
so
Israel. Fuck it. I'm Ben Shapiro.
Beats off hard at night
What?
thinking about Israel.
I'm Ben
What are you
Shapiro.
fucking
Which
retarded?
one of you
Ben
your
Shapiro.
penis harder? Israel.
Okay. Do either of you have a hot take about a movie or a video game that you'd like to share right now?
Paul Thomas Anderson's a shitty director. Fuck you.
What do you have to say to that?
What the fuck? Who the fuck even is that? What the
Yeah,
fuck?
see?
Okay,
What is this?
Thomas Anderson. Give us another hot take.
No, you're the first fag, dude. You ain't the second fag. You're the first fag.
Here, give a take then, faggot.
God damn it.
Yeah, I'm giving a take that you're a fucking faggot. That's my take, bitch.
Whoa, that was so fucking cool, man. Can I get your
Yep.
autograph?
I'm the reason blacks
Can I-
commit crimes.
Can I suck your dick, man? That was really cool.
Oh, well.
Oh no. We gotta really
Oh,
determine
that guy
on Stretch. Are you gonna accept that, Stretch? Is that what you're gonna take? You gonna take that sort of shit, sir?
Don't take his shit, Stretch.
How about The Dark
Hold
Knight's
on.
the best Batman
Hold on,
movie?
hold the fuck on.
I don't
Let's
know.
bring this back to civil level. Let's bring this back to civil level. What do you guys
like northern
Okay,
like
okay.
goes, everything's a question?
I'll be
Let me bring it back.
I'll be civil. I saw a study that said that you're a piece of shit. Okay, is that civil?
Fucking base. I enjoy it.
What the
All right.
fuck? What?
I'm gonna take a piss in your belly. What do you think about fucking Siphon Filter there, bud?
Spence! Quiet!
Is it the best gun
Quiet!
game that was
Surfer!
ever made?
Surfer!
Not
Surfer!
only the first gun game ever made, but the best.
Fuck's
What do you
sake!
think about Siphon Filter?
No one,
shit show.
no one gives a shit. I have another spur in the chat. Bring in GC. It's Grim Cheers. Anybody know Grim Cheers?
Grim Cheers is based
with the clip channel.
Grim
Grim Cheers.
Is that you, sir?
Grim Cheers.
I don't know if that is. I think he actually has his icon.
Welcome to the Kinodrome.
He messaged me. He said he was in the VC under GC, so I don't know if he's fucking listening or what.
That's GC right there. Grim Cheers, what are you doing, sir?
What a useless twat! He missed his chance. What a useless twat!
You know, the guy doesn't know how to use mute. You know, just give him a chance.
How can you not know how to fucking click a button, for fuck's sake?
Give him a chance, buddy. Just give him another chance.
Close to your mic, faggot.
Fuck you! You degenerate swine!
Buddy,
You maggots!
Buddy, this is a goal that
ridiculous.
Blue Yeti microphone.
Hey, so Moist Boy.
It's not.
I got a question. Hey, Moist
What's
Boy.
up, Juice?
Can you describe?
Yes, Kiwi.
Can you describe a vagina?
A vagina?
Yeah.
Isn't it long, hard, and black?
All right. Well, I got a follow-up
Amazing.
question. Why are you such a
Killing it.
faggot, Moist Boy?
Fucking killing it.
Why am I?
Yes.
That's the question? Sorry, it's hard to hear. Probably because I live so close to Atlanta. That's probably why. And also hearing those two people debate kind of made me want to come out as the second fag. Because their love for each other, the tension was palpable, and it made me
bad, dude.
want to express my boy.
You're fucking bad, dude.
I'm
You're
trying.
really fucking bad. At
I'm
least be
trying.
funny. If you're gonna say stupid shit, at least let it be funny. You're not even laughing at the stupid shit you say.
Yeah, because
Literally no one. It's fucking pathetic, dude. You should just log off.
You know what? You're right.
Yes.
Moist Boy, you've been blown the fuck out by Stretch. It's just a total fucking knockout. You're bleeding from every fucking orifice, including your anus. So I'm afraid, Moist Boy, you're fucking kicked from the show. You suck cock. I'm sorry.
Alright, Moist
Could
Boy's
have
out.
tried harder. Next time, try harder.
Alright, let's...
Jesus Christ.
Is this Grim Cheers?
All
Is
right,
that
can
you,
we...
sir? Grim
I
Cheers.
swear to God, Grim. Unmute yourself, nigga.
It's probably not.
Grim Cheers, I swear to fucking God, I will FCA your channel if you don't figure this the fuck out.
God damn.
God damn it, I'm going to flag his channel.
This just keeps getting worse.
Evil cunt.
It just keeps spiraling, dude.
Kino Keeper's embarrassed his audience is full of faggots and pedophiles and spags. God damn it.
That gay argument brought all the fags in. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
God damn.
Oh, he unmuted.
It's too good.
He unmuted.
Did he?
I'm here. I'm
Oh, for fuck's sake!
About
Grim
time,
Cheers.
nigga.
The
Yeah,
fuck?
how the fuck do
You
ya?
worked out how to unmute.
All right. All
Pushing
right,
buttons
let's
is
fucking
hard.
do this. Let's fucking do this. Okay, so Anaconda is the best movie in the fucking horror genre of giant monster movies. Anyone want to fucking come on and debate me on that? I will fucking crush you. Voight made that movie. It was his best acting role, the last best acting role he had. What's that?
Fuck you, Stretch. If you don't want to debate Anaconda with this man, you can fuck off from the Kino.
Alright, I'm fucking off. I don't know nothing about no anacondas or none of that shit. Or movie actors and directors. Y'all niggas gay.
You
Two
filth
niggers.
your
It's a call to
shut up.
violence.
You don't
Anaconda's the
appreciate
best
Kino.
movie.
I am kicking you because you're a dipshit.
Oh.
Fuck you, Stretch. You've been kicked from the program for not appreciating Kino.
Dude, John
Welcome
Voight.
to fucking Brand World, plebeian.
John Voight's and Ray
Now-
Donovan. He's done like what 7 seasons of that show. That wasn't his last movie. Like that was like that TV show.
No, that was his last good role. He was perfect in that. He played fucking like slimy, sleazy to a T. I've never seen like the look. He had that look that he gave everyone in that movie. It like I'm about to fucking kill you. I'm about to gut you. He was amazing.
All right. And
So who's going to come on to say that Jaws is better than Anaconda, or some other picture is better than Anaconda in the horror creature genre? Is anyone going to debate this man, or will this point stand that Anaconda is the greatest creature horror film? Who will come on to argue against him? Is there anyone out there, any spurg or sped? We'll give it 5 to 10 minutes here. Otherwise, it's going to probably be the end of the fucking show. God damn it.
Well, I don't want to win by default. That's not.
Well, Anaconda's
Somebody
pretty
find
good
me another.
We could watch some
Andrews,
Shadowboxers.
do you want to
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Listen,
I wouldn't
guys.
know the other movie though.
As Dave says, if the second fag has just unironically BTFO'd all of the competition, is this really where we want to leave it?
It's not the second
Where
fag.
the
It's not the
has
second.
unironically
Shut up, Surfer. It's
BTFO'd?
not the fucking second fag. It's fucking Richard now.
Hey,
Jesus Christ, he was. I banned him. No, I kicked him ages ago for being a faggot.
Okay, sorry. I'm not quite up to date.
Oh, Owen might want to.
You know.
We'll try him. Did you
Okay,
show have you done the Twitter poll yet? Have you shown the results yet?
So the results of the Twitter poll of who won between the prosecutor and the spaceman was 72 votes because no one gave a shit. The prosecutor got 66.7. The spaceman received 33.3.
Well, the reality was they were both big cucks. It's just the prosecutor was less of a cuck.
Now, in terms of the quality of debate, 40% said it was Kino, 60% said anti-Kino. So that's how the audience viewed it. They were probably right completely.
Oh, Waylu
Well,
wants
the
on.
loser should have had to eat a fucking bucket of red
Okay,
sauce.
so we've got someone to challenge Grim Cheers. Oh, before we do that, here's some fireworks for Prosecutor because he won. There you go. Well done.
Well fucking done, prosecutor. You blew out Spaceman. Although I personally preferred Spaceman's performance because he played around a little bit better.
There you go.
Spaceman.
All right, let's try and get this guy in.
Yeah, he was.
Like, you have to give it.
Okay, here we go.
Waylulu.
You're on the air, though.
You're on the Kinodrome. Welcome, sir. What is your perspective about Anaconda being the best movie and John Voight's greatest role?
I think it is John Voight's greatest role, but I think Jaws 3D is a much better movie.
I disagree. Jaws 3D was okay, but the thing is it's
Jaws 3D was a fucking masterpiece.
It was not a fucking masterpiece.
It was a fucking. Did you see when the shark?
shut the fuck
You see
up,
when the
you
shark went through the
faggot.
fucking glass? You
motherfucker,
fucking idiot!
No, fucking.
It went by like it was coming right at us. You
That
fucking
comes out of
faggot!
God motherfucking damn street. It fucking eats goddamn fucking Westridge. Fucking pulls him right out of the fucking air. It is the best fucking kill in the horror movie genre.
There were no fucking dolphins in that entire movie.
Oh, dolphins! Oh, my fucking dolphins!
Yeah, fucking dolphins! They're really intelligent, you piece of shit.
Oh, they're fucking.
Oh, I'm gay because I like dolphins.
Dolphins are for
Yeah,
fucking little.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm fucking gay because I like dolphins. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yes, you're fucking gay because
Yeah.
you like dolphins.
No, fucking dolphins are
Let
sweet.
autism flow. Let it flow through your veins.
Look, I'm just saying this. Anaconda, you don't get fucking scarier than Anaconda. It is a fucking primordial fear.
Yeah,
of
you love
goddamn
Anaconda
snakes.
and Israel, right?
No, fuck Israel. Anaconda.
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
best.
yeah.
The Jews don't like
Hey,
fucking
who-
snakes.
oh, who do you
Fuck
think produced
fucking
Anaconda?
nigger. You're
Who
a
fucking
fucking
produced
nigger lover.
Anaconda?
You shut the fuck up, you
Who
piece of
fucking
shit.
produced Anaconda? I'll give
I
you.
don't even-
I'll give. Dude, I don't think he knows who produced Anaconda.
I don't give a shit who produced Anaconda. It's not who produced it. It's the quality of the goddamn movie. It is so
Surfer,
great.
who
At the
produced
very
Anaconda?
beginning, in the first 3 minutes, you have a Danny Trejo death. That's fucking amazing.
Danny Trejo died in Predators, and that movie fucking sucked dick.
Yeah, Predator sucked dick. Oh, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Predator sucked dick. Anyways, no, but fucking Danny Trejo dies. They off him because they know he's a piece of shit in the first 3 fucking minutes. Then you get, well, J-Lo is a piece of shit as well. I'm not saying J-Lo made the movie. What I'm saying is Voight made that fucking movie. It was so good. You have some of the best
I think it's
camera
funny
angles.
that you like movies where white people die and Mexicans live. That's really interesting.
Oh, shut the fuck
Really
up.
interesting,
It's nothing
Grim.
about that. It's about the picture. It's about the picture. Okay, take race out of this. No, this is fucking about the quality.
How does it
How can you
feel
have
to
a
be
discussion
on the racial question?
How can you have a discussion about Anaconda without discussing race?
Yeah, it seems
Impossible.
like J-Lo.
Easily. Look, J-Lo is a piece of shit. I'm not denying that. I will not stand on her side. But you have fucking Owen Wilson. You have fucking Voight. You have fucking Ice Cube. And I don't care what people say about Ice Cube. His music is fucking great. I'll stand on that fucking... I'll die on that goddamn hill as well. Fuck.
Look, it was based when the snake spits out John Voight and he winks at J-Lo. That was based.
That is pretty
But if it was in 3D and he was coming out at us and winking at us, is that not objectively better?
It would have been objectively better, but they didn't have the technology.
It came out 10 years after Jaws 3D. At
No,
least.
Anaconda came out in 1997.
Yeah, Jaws 3D came out like in the 80s.
Blown the fuck out on the chronological dates there,
Man.
Grim.
God damn it.
Grim Cuts
God
needs a
damn it.
calendar.
No,
Why
you're right,
wasn't
you're right.
Anaconda filmed in 3D, Grim Cheers? Why?
Was it not?
The technology was not around in the mid-90s. There was 3D TVs in the 80s.
The 90s was the dark ages where we forgot how to mix a red and a blue together? I mean, have you seen Jaws 3D? See, if you were just saying Anaconda was a good movie, okay, no one's going to complain. It's a great movie even. But to say it's the best movie and more than that, better than Jaws 3D? No, you're wrong.
And J-Lo did
No, you're wrong.
Gigi.
Gigi should have been in 3D also.
The real question is, how the fuck did we lose the technology in a matter of 10 years? Was the 90s a fucking dark age where we all learned how to read?
It's because
It
the
was very
national
similar to
IQ
after the
dropped due
fall
to
of Rome.
demographic changes.
So it's the black people's fault, or is it the Jews? Tell us.
I would say it's the blacks first, then the Jews.
Well,
interesting. How do you retort to that?
Think Grimcheers is a cuck. That's what I think.
Oh, fuck you. You fucking faggot. Oh, no, you're a fucking faggot. You're over here talking about, oh, you love Israel. You're being all subversive and shit. Oh, Grim, you love Israel, blah, 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 blah. No, fuck off. If you do not stand with Anaconda, you do not stand with the white race.
Grim Cheers is very compelling. It's his argument that if you don't stand with him, you're against the white race.
I don't think that the Nicki Minaj album Anaconda exists without the movie Anaconda. So
because
you do the math.
Minaj's album was a pile of shit, you think that Anaconda's trash as well?
I think they both have to do with the little hats, yeah.
Why is it always the Jews' fault?
Well, like 97.
That was my understanding from Owen Benjamin.
So we have a bear here. So what type of penis do you like most? Black, white, or Asian, bear?
Oh, am I the bear?
Wait. Yeah, whoever the fuck is saying that they're an Owen Benjamin supporter, what type of cock do you like best?
No, I'm saying that Grim is an Owen Benjamin supporter.
No, I do not support Owen Benjamin. Fuck you. That is slander and blood libel.
So are you saying that you do not endorse Bertaria?
I do not endorse Bertaria.
The gravy floweth like wine.
No, fuck Bertaria. Bertaria is for fucking... look, Owen Benjamin fucking gave a man a hand job. Are you going to stand with that?
No, his dad's gay too. He outed his dad.
That's true.
He said he found out his dad was gay when they were watching Anaconda together.
Fuck you!
It was in the video.
No, it wasn't. There was no mention of Anaconda.
Look,
you're lying.
We're getting a little off track here. I think the point is Jaws 3D was 3D. Anaconda could have been 3D. It wasn't. Why is that, Graham? We still haven't gotten an answer on that.
Look, here's what I'll say. There was a technological dark ages after the 90s. There were certain demographic changes. There was certain people in Hollywood that just wanted to make money. But Anaconda, you have to look at it this way. It had an all-star cast. Again, you have Owen Wilson, you have Ice Cube, you have Voight, you have fucking, it's amazing. You have some of the best camera shots in the world. They actually had the cameraman, like, doing the snake view. If you look behind the scenes, they put so much love into that movie. And also, it wasn't just shitty CGI. They did use, like, shitty fucking CGI in that movie, don't get me wrong. But 75% of that movie was made with animatronics, and that is a lost art in itself as well.
As can be seen in Jaws 3D. Which is possibly the pinnacle of animatronics. Maybe Jaws 4 The Revenge, but...
If you want to get to the pinnacle of animatronics, we're going to have to get into Jurassic Park. And I don't have the autism to go there.
Now, gentlemen, I wish to let you know there was a poll open on the Power of the Truth Twitter where people can vote which is better, Jaws or Anaconda. But go ahead, continue.
I want to be clear, it's Jaws 3D.
Yeah,
regular Jaws is shit.
No, Jaws 3D. Jaws 3D is shit. It was made. It's a Jewish money scam. It's just money. Anaconda was a
fuck you. It was 3D. It has dolphins. It has sharks. It has Louis Gossett Jr.
Fuck your dolphins. You're goddamn dolphins. You're going back to those dolphins.
They're the smartest fucking mammals alive, except for humans. We should have them as pets instead of dogs.
They're fucking retarded.
Dolphins die defending the shores of our country every day. I'm sorry. Maybe you don't care about America. Dolphins literally die fighting terrorists, defusing bombs in the ocean, getting rid of mines. Dolphins are fucking bait.
If you support fucking dolphins, you support nigger rape. Fuck you.
I support dolphins doing whatever they have to do to get by.
Oh, they're a piece of shit animal. Fucking, I hope the next time you eat fucking tuna, it's got a fucking big dolphin fin it. You fucking faggot.
I hope so too, because maybe I'll get some of that brain power. Maybe you could use some dolphin brain power. Maybe you should try eating some dolphin fin soup.
No, fucking dolphins
snake?
are gay. If you eat dolphins,
I like
dolphin
snakes.
will make you gay.
What do snakes remind me of? What's the shape of a snake remind me of? Oh, no wonder I like them so much.
Oh, you're good. Oh, gonna go there. No, the reason that it did
I'm gonna go to the fact that you're obviously gay.
Primordial fear. If you're not afraid of snakes, you're not fucking human.
So is getting raped. Fucking faggot.
Fuck you.
I got nothing else. I can't have an intellectual conversation. You're no spaceman.
It wasn't meant to be an intellectual.
Grim,
you're
you are no spaceman.
To a fucking Anaconda debate.
Could you bring Spaceman back? I feel like I could have a real conversation with Spaceman about good movies. Grim Cux doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, this has to do with art.
News for you. With 7 votes so far, Anaconda has 85% to Jaws 3D's 14%. It's shocking.
Wow, with 7 votes. Wow.
With
got
7 votes.
Grimtier 7 alt accounts. Wow.
Nigga, I'm on my phone right now. I can't even go on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm on my phone too. That's why I haven't voted.
Hold on, Jaws 3D has come back to 40% with 20 votes. You're making a compelling case there, Walaloo. You're bringing it back.
Thank you.
Yeah, but why?
Thank you, Kino Keeper. Thank you.
No, Jaws. Kino Keeper, you have to hear me out. Jaws 3D was a fucking piece of shit movie. What did it offer to the world? What did it give people? No,
3D
Anaconda-
sharks, the most
no,
terrifying thing in the world.
No, fuck that. Anaconda gave people. There's everything in Anaconda. There's a goddamn love story. There's a goddamn candy ruin in a man's throat.
Jaws 3D has that. Jaws 3D has that. Jaws 3D has
fuck
that.
you. Voight has to perform a tracheotomy. He had to go into a surgeon's office and learn how to do that operation to fucking do it on that man who had the goddamn candy ruin in his throat.
They had to perform surgery underwater in Jaws 3D.
Oh, fuck your surgery underwater.
They had to
That's
use a fucking
impossible.
blowtorch. They had to use a blowtorch to suture it up. They had to use a blowtorch to suture it up.
Oh, what is it?
It was
Rambo
fucking
now?
base.
Oh, fuck that. Jaws 3D
It was
is
fucking
not
base.
Rambo. Oh, fuck
Rambo
that.
wishes it was Jaws 3D. Jaws 3D probably has a bigger kill count than Rambo.
It might.
Only thing I'm not sure of is it really the same shark? Because you think the shark's always dying, but then why does he keep coming back? That's what doesn't make sense.
All right, Wallalu, here's a question. What is the size of the shark? How big is the shark in Jaws 3?
Roughly the size of 2 anacondas.
Oh, bullshit. No, I fucking looked this shit up yesterday.
That's what they say in the movie.
In the original Jaws movie, in the original goddamn Jaws movie, the fucking shark was
Which
only
is not as good as
25
Jaws 3D.
Hold up. In the original goddamn Jaws movie, the shark was only fucking 25 feet long and 3 tons. Anaconda is goddamn 75 feet long. It'll just fucking wrap around your little goddamn shark and fucking squeeze the life out of it.
So you're saying that Anaconda would fuck up a shark in a fight?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Underwater.
I don't know.
Yeah, yes, underwater. Did
Even
you see
out
how
of the
fast
water, I
Anaconda
don't think.
moved? Anaconda moves so goddamn fast.
Sharks move extremely fast. In fact, I think only dolphins move faster than them.
Fuck your dolphins. Why do you go back to these dolphins?
Because they're fucking based.
Dolphins are not based. Dolphins are the gayest creature in the
fucking
fucking world.
based.
It's related to a fucking sea cow. How can you like dolphins?
Because they're fucking based, dude. I told you they're smart.
Dolphins
They
are not
defend
based.
America.
They do not defend America.
Dude, the fucking army uses them to get rid of bombs and find terrorists and shit.
I don't have enough information on that to say if that's true or not. So I will
studies anyway.
Yeah, because you probably
That's
you don't
true.
have the studies. I have 18 fucking pages of studies.
God damn your fucking 18 pages of study. God damn it to hell.
18 pages of studies off of faggots, cuckolds, and pedophiles like the spaceman. I will hear no talk of fucking studies in the Kinodrome ever again. Fuck, politics are banned from the fucking Kinodrome. But not quite, but nearly there. Yeah, if only we can get on some...
I only mention it because dolphins are awesome and the army uses them. So a movie is going to be good if it has dolphins in it.
I disagree.
Generally speaking.
It's a 75-foot long snake hanging from a fucking tree. Going down there, it eats Westridge mid-air. That is one of the best kills. And it might be the best kill. The best kill in a horror movie, in a horror giant creature.
Have you ever seen Final Destination?
I saw the first one, not the other two.
Okay. Oh, there's like 10 of them. But anyways, the reason I ask is I think Final Destination 7 or 8 is actually 3D again. And at the end of it, during the credits, it plays every single death from all of the movies, but in 3D. And it's just that much more base.
I will concede that point. That seems pretty fucking based. I haven't.
It's pretty sweet actually. It's like a whole montage of just every. So that's Again, I'm not arguing Jaws. I love Anaconda, but Jaws 3D is in 3D.
It
Now,
might be in 3D.
if they were to re-release Anaconda 3D tomorrow, this might be a different conversation. I might be finding myself on that side of it. But no 3D, no way, man.
Why does it have to be 3D though? Because the cast made that movie.
Oh, why does the world have to be 3D?
No, the movies, not the world. Fuck you, nigger.
The movies are supposed to be like the world. That's why they should be in 3D. I saw Prometheus in 3D, okay?
That's pretty...
You actually wasted your fucking money on that pile of shit abomination Prometheus.
Yeah, I was really pissed off walking out of that theater.
I didn't
What were
mind
you
Prometheus.
thinking? You really believed in Ridley Scott, yeah?
Yeah,
was
I can't defend it. I'm sorry, Kino Master, Kino Keeper.
I'm the Kino Keeper, maggot! Get it right, god damn it! Rimchair's fucking salvage this! Tell us what better than 3D films? Can you even make conceding? What about
I will not.
Citizen Kane?
Citizen Kane is okay, but it's not in the same genre as Anaconda.
Imagine the spinning papers if they were in 3D and you're like, whoa, they're coming right at me. Instead of it just being some boring movie.
We're hearing hot takes here that Citizen Kane is inferior to Jaws 3D and Anaconda. Very hot takes.
Oh, I mean, I think we're all in agreement on that. I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We might be in agreement on that, but we still haven't settled the question of which is the best creature feature.
Anaconda. I have
Jaws 3D.
Kino Keeper.
Hands down.
I have presented you with this very compelling argument. Again, John Voight should just that should be it. But it's not. You know, this Spurg's over here. Oh, Jaws 3D, dolphins. Again, even if you go down to the basic physics of it, Anaconda would kill Jaws 3D. It would kill all the dolphins. There's no escape from that. It took
the dolphins would literally break out from the inside.
Anaconda. They had to blow him up, and that wasn't even enough. They had to fucking axe him in the face, literally. Literally. God damn it.
They had to blow up Jaws, and that wasn't enough. And then they had to blow up the entire underwater facility, and that wasn't enough. And then the dolphins had to help kill him.
Fuck your dolphins.
Oh, but dolphins aren't base.
No,
God.
Dolphins are not based. Dolphins are the most baggiest creatures in the world. If you like
dolphins are the fucking most based creatures. Jaws 3D is awesome. It's in 3D.
Anaconda is the far superior film. Anaconda is the Uberman. It is the Ubermensch of goddamn creatures.
Anaconda is a bridge, okay? You said it yourself. We were in a technological dark time. If Anaconda had come out 10 years later or earlier, it could have been something great. It was confined by its shitty VHS time frame.
I disagree.
If it had been on Betamax, maybe.
No, fuck your Betamax.
Betamax is base. What are you? Oh, fuck you.
Oh, Betamax. No, how are you? You can't even buy shit to play on Betamax anymore.
What's a
the only reason VHS took off is because of degenerates.
The VHS.
VHS only took off because the porn industry went on there. VHS is a platform for degenerates and faggots. That's who likes
bullshit. Oh no, bullshit. VHS was the far superior. Dude, when you could get VHS tapes for like fucking $3 for $10. Now what? You got it. Well, now.
And what do they use it for? What do they use it for? Taking pictures of my family on my giant camcorder because I live in a shitty time period.
Do you even have a retort, Grimshares, or are you just going to swallow your tongue like a maggot, little bitch?
Here's my retort. Betamax is
Here's my retort.
No, fuck you, nigger.
Here's my
Betamax
retort.
is for beta bitches. Fuck you.
Only an alpha platform could be named beta and still thrive.
Oh, bullshit. You're talking about dolphins and Betamax? You must be a homosexual. You gotta be.
Jaws 3D is awesome. That's why I like dolphins.
Oh,
okay?
Nice.
I'm not
dodge.
pulling this out of nowhere.
I'm
dodge.
Over here, ducking and shucking and jiving. I can't even fucking.
Yes, Massa. I'm shucking and jiving for you. I like the dolphins. I like the dolphins.
The dolphins are gay.
Dolphins are not gay. Then why does the Navy use them to fight terrorism?
Because the Navy is gay. Nothing but homosexuals in the Navy.
Look, maybe like 30-40% of the force, but that is still a big minority. And the dolphins aren't gay.
How do you know?
Because it's part of their training. You said yourself you didn't know about the dolphin training.
Well,
so now you're
you
laughing that...
Yeah,
I do.
Are you some sort of master of the dolphins? Do you train dolphins on your days off? Do you go to fucking SeaWorld and go fucking pet the dolphins? Fuck
No,
you, nigger.
what happened was I saw this really great movie called Jaws 3D, and I was like, wow, these dolphins are really cool. I wonder what else I can learn about them. And then I found out all this cool information.
Oh, Jaws 3D.
You wouldn't say dolphins are gay if you saw Jaws 3D.
Jaws 3D is, here's the thing about Jaws 3D. I've only seen clips of it. That's how shitty of a movie it is. But
well, that says a lot more about you than it does about Jaws 3D.
But, here's the deal. You admitted yourself you saw Anaconda. I didn't even give Jaws 3D the fucking time of day. That's how shitty of
a that's your mistake.
It wasn't even promoted.
That's your mistake.
Oh, my mistake.
It was a little bit ahead of its time. People saw that and they were like, whoa, this is way too scary because it's like in 3D.
Who saw
it's
that?
Like there's a shark right here.
You're the first person I've ever talked to that's seen that fucking...
Well, you probably talk to a lot of faggots. If I had to guess.
I don't talk to anyone, nigger.
Oh, I think you do. I think you do.
This is like my fucking first time on Discord. Fuck you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Hey,
over here,
at least I could edit out a fucking OBS screen in the beginning of every fucking stream.
Why do you want to edit out an OBS screen in every
because I don't want to look like a fucking idiot who doesn't know how to edit out his OBS screens.
Why do you want to do that, though? Who gives a fuck if it's got an OBS screen at the very start for 3 seconds?
I disagree with
very
highly.
Keeping the OBS in is respectful to the Kino Dogme 2007, for fuck's sake. It's closer. I mean, it's still edited like in a homosexual way, but at least he didn't have to fucking change it. I don't know. It might not be professional, but why does it have to be? I don't know.
You know what, Kino Keeper? You actually just swayed me on that. Yeah. The OBS beginning is fucking Kino. I take it back.
There you go. You're really helping your case now for Jaws 3D.
Well, Kino Keeper, I'm gonna have
I serve only the truth.
I'm gonna have to run here, man. I'm not bailing on this. I have IRL shit to do.
I'm not bailing. I got IRL shit to do.
What's a disaster?
We gotta go buy boulders.
Well, at current count, the poll says 53.2% for Anaconda to 46.8% for Jaws 3D. So the audience has selected Grim Cheers as the winner of the debate.
This is the same audience that said Nick Rekieta was a bigger scammer than Anita Sarkeesian, a bigger grifter. That same audience. I'm fine being in the minority. Fuck your audience.
All right,
how dare you question chat's righteousness?
No, this is the heel turn right here. Fuck your audience. Fuck you all. Fuck you all,
both of you fucking spags. This is the end. You're both fucking going to be dead.
Oh,
yeah. The fucking Kino.
I'll set off some fireworks and there you go.
Base. Well, thank you guys for having me on. Anytime anyone wants to spurg out, I fucking love yelling at people.
All right, gentlemen, we appreciate you coming on. You did a great job. Way better than the fucking other faggots, by far.
Thank you, Kino Keeper.
Thank you, Kino.
Dear Juice, I think that this will probably be the end of the Kinodrome. We've gone for 3 hours. I'd love to keep going, but I'm very sweaty.
Awesome.
My fucking balls are fucking pooling in sweat from this cloak. And my face is just dripping in fucking grease, so I'm going to have to go soon.
Yes, that's understandable.
The Kino Keeper sweats at a rate that is twice the rate as the average human being, at least.
That's right.
Smells heinous.
Well, how do you expect me to be the guardian of all Kino and Nectar if I don't sweat like a motherfucker? Well, it's not my fault there's not air conditioning in here, surfer. All right. That's it. Ladies, speds and spags, I hope you've appreciated Kinodrome 1. We tried our best to make it entertaining. This is it. Have a good night there.
That is all. Oh, the Kinodrome.
That's it. Are we off the air?